Greetings, human. I come from the future.
It's not all that far in the future.
I guess it's really only 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, yes, you're still a future person. The most you're gonna ruin for me is, like, TV shows that you don't watch.
Yeah, I don't really watch TV. I came prepared tonight. I have Red Bull. Why?
Yay?
Because it's fucking 11:30 at night, and I'm afraid that I'll crash otherwise.
Hang on, give me a minute. I just tried to breathe tea.
Look, I know you like tea, but breathing it is kind of a stretch, okay?
My lungs may think I can't, but I know I can. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you eating? Oh my god, that's loud.
Not eating anything. I cracked open my can of Red Bull. Fuck you.
It sounded like nuts.
Well, it is nuts. Because it's Red Bull.
Oh.
Welcome to episode 25 of the Super Happy Fun Gather from Tea Party with Kiki and Bo.
And that joke just went over everybody but like 1% of our audience. That's good shit.
Yeah, you're disgusting.
What?
I don't like Red Bull.
I'm sorry. I personally like the taste of bull piss.
To be fair, I don't like most energy drinks.
That's because they're made with bull piss.
Well, they taste like metal.
Yes, because toluene comes from bull piss.
No. I'm not really worried about the bull piss part. I just don't like the metal taste.
I love the metal taste. It steels me against the world.
I hate you.
It's true irony.
Hit yourself with something, because I can't.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go. Good boy. Okay, now that you've stopped punning and I'm no longer choking.
Always a good sign, always a good sign.
Let's talk about Handmaid May.
Handmaid May.
That sounds a little bit hard to say.
Seriously, one of the most adorable shows I have ever seen. For one reason, and one reason alone. And I suppose you want that reason.
Yes.
That the main character, the main male lead, is kind of adorable in the sense that he's not actively trying to have sexual relations with the main female lead, Handmaid May. Mm-hmm. What's more amazing to me, like the part that really caught me off guard, was May is from a series of robots from, like, basically, I think it's Cyberdyne, which is, I think, is kind of funny in the sense that they, like, copied Cyberdyne from the Terminator series. They're very highly advanced, like, androids. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute.
Yes.
But May is different in the sense that most of them are what you would call 1-to-1 scale. They're human size. They're 1-to-1 to a human. Mm-hmm. She's 1-to-6. She's like the size of a Barbie doll, which is kind of adorable when he gets her because he opens... I honestly never learned the main character's name. I never knew what his name was because he's so forgettable, other than the fact that he exists as basically a viewer proxy. I mean, he has character. Like, he's not without personality, but, like, I always feel like in shows with a lot of women, basically the male character exists as basically a proxy for the viewer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, like, he has character, but it's not character in the sense that he's remarkable or memorable. He's his
name is like Satomi something?
Yeah, that sounds right. So the point is, basically, it's a magic, I think basically magic girlfriend harem. Mm-hmm. Technically harem anime, because a bunch of girls, one guy, they're all vying for his attention. You know, there's the landlady's daughter, who's his next door neighbor, who, you know, who is in love with him but won't come out and say that she is, so he doesn't know. And there's all these these Cyberdyne androids that are involved in one way or another with May. The first couple are well, the first one you run into is May, and then there's the girl who's she delivered May to his house when he ordered her by mistake. Like, I'm not even getting into how he gets her, but like all these different androids show up because he orders her by accident. Basically, one of his rivals basically makes him accidentally order her. She's like over $1 million to buy, and he doesn't realize that he's like bought this super expensive android. And so then there's this whole deal for the first like 3 or 4 episodes where they're trying to either recover her or recover payment from him for her, which he says, I don't have any money, I'm a poor college student. Ba-dum. So that's the beginning. They go through this whole deal. All these characters, like, it basically starts introducing all the different characters that are going to be a part of the harem. You know, you have the ditzy smart one, you have the brash kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? What do you call that? She's not a tom girl, but it's like the tough one.
Let's just go with the tough one. It's been a while.
Yeah, I can't think of it. It's kind of like Faye Valentine, you know, like the thief kind of, you know.
Yeah, it's like not a Sundry, but not the tomboy, but not. It's kind of in between weirdness.
Yeah, it's that
I
kind of.
I know there's a term, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't think of like it's the same thing that like Faye Valentine is, or who else? There's a whole bunch of female characters, like the kind of sultry, you know, kind of tough, independent woman type thing.
Let's just call them sultry.
There's May, who I believe is just a standard magical girlfriend archetype. Like, she's not really a yandere, she's not a tsundere. She's just
she's the nice robot girl.
Yeah, there's if I remember correctly, yandere are nice on the surface but are complete psychos on the inside, but she's definitely not. That's like, people talk about like, tsundere. I'm like, yeah, yandere are much scarier than tsundere, because, you know, tsundere don't murder you in your sleep with a cleaver. But so there's this whole deal. They get to about episode 5 or 6. He finally admits that he's not going to be able to pay for her. They go on like a date, basically, to the amusement park together. He carries her around. They talk about, you know, how much they like each other. He says, you know, I'm going to miss you, so on and so forth. And then I don't remember the exact sequence of events that happens in the next episode, but basically his next door neighbor is this like robot from the future. He's like super hardcore Ultraman, Mega Man style, like, you know, like fighting robot. I don't know what to call it. Like, you know, he's got like the whole like super robot, you know, fighter guy type dealio. Very, I don't know who, like, very Ultraman is what I want to use, but I don't think that's right. Very Super Sentai, I think is what I'm looking for. Very Power Rangers. And something he does, he tells him that the guy tells him that he is the president of Cyberdyne, and that he will give him whatever he wants. And he asks him if he can have May. And he says, I'll get you another May. And he says, no, I want the May I had. I want the same May that was here. He says, well, we can do that. We can do that. And this, to me, was the most heartwarming moment of the entire show. Because then it shows him basically waiting by the door for like 3 days for it to get delivered. And the delivery lady brings him the box. He opens the box up, and she had a problem at the beginning where when she had come out of the box, he'd gotten scared, like, and dropped the box like off his balcony, and like her charger got broken. So he had developed this thing where he soldered a USB lead into her like charging port so that they could charge her off of like a standard USB port. And in order to hide the fact that he'd done this, he had taken a piece of white ribbon and tied it around her waist to hide the fact that this USB cord was coming out of her back, basically. And when he opens the box, all that's inside is that ribbon. That's it. He drops the box. He looks all dejected, and he's just like, I knew it was too good to be true. This guy screwed me. And he's really sad. And I'm like, man, that's bullshit. What the hell? And the delivery lady takes her hat off, and it's May. And she's full size. And I'm like, that is so fucking awesome. And so for the last half of the series, she's a full size human, basically. And I was like, that is so cool. Because then, like, once this happens, like, the romance starts between the two of them. Because now she's not just a doll. She's actually, like, to him, like an actual person. Mm-hmm. She was a person to him before, but now she's, like, you can actually interact with her on, like, a interpersonal level because she's not, the size of a Barbie doll. All this crazy stuff happens. More people join the group. You find out all this stuff. She's got the ability to take care of everyone, and there's this virus, and there's all this crazy shit that happens. And the bonus episode was the most interesting of all, because you find out in the bonus episode that Cyberdyne is the company that he and his rival end up founding together. And like some of all these robots are coming from the future. They're not from our time. And this little like robots. And this little like squid robot that he's been working on like through the entire show. He's been building this little like squid robot. It starts out very simple. Like it can move, it can shake it, you can shake your hand, but it can't talk. And slowly but surely it becomes more and more aware as he programs more and more stuff into it. It starts being able to talk, and it has a personality, and it's really interesting. And it turns out that little robot that he's been working on is actually like the basis. It's like the great granddaddy of all the Cyberdyne android maids. It's like, what the hell? And so there's all this talk of the president of Cyberdyne is actually a guy in a suit. He's actually a dude in a Power Ranger suit, and it's his great 32 times grandson. And so the next door neighbor remarks that means that he must have married somebody and had children, because otherwise there wouldn't be this guy. So that she believes that she has a chance because everybody else, all the other girls vying for his attention are robots. And so they can't have children. And then his great 35 times removed grandson remarks at the very end, in the last 30 seconds, that May was special because she is a bioroid and thus is capable of having children. ... The end.
That almost makes it sound like it's a precursor to Appleseed.
And I'm like, so what you're basically saying is it's a robot skeleton with a human's, like literally like a metal skeleton with all human organs and anatomy and everything.
Yes, it's got squishy bits.
Yeah. I'm like, at that point, how is it even a robot anymore?
I suppose only in the vaguest sense of the term.
Yeah. You start crossing the threshold. But I mean, it does all the normal, it does all the normal stuff of Magical Girlfriend. I mean, it's nothing like particularly unique or special. It doesn't address any really particularly crazy ideas. It's just simply a love story with a lot of, rivals thrown in, basically, because it's one of those things where there's never any doubt who he's going to end up with. Like,
yeah.
Despite everybody else's best efforts, it really is going to be him and May. Like,
well, yeah, she's the title character.
It's not like Tenchi Muyo where, you're not really sure who Tenchi's going to end up marrying in the end. Although I think the final conclusion was that he ends up marrying Sasami when she grows up.
I do not remember. It has been a while.
Because, do you remember the episode where they discover the history of Sasami and Tsunami appears?
Yeah.
And Ryoko and Ayaka are on the side of the lake during the cherry blossoms, and they're talking about it, and then Ayeka remarks, "Sasami is tsunami," and then they make the light bulbs go off, but they're like, "What?" And then she appears, and she's like, "Yes, one day she'll look like me," and then they both remark that she'll be the most beautiful of all the ladies, basically, when she grows up. And you start thinking about it, and like, she lacks all of the horrible character traits that all the other ladies in that show. Sorry to go off track, but like, I always find it interesting because there's always like in that show, she ends up being like the Beldani. She lacks any real flaws other than the fact that she's, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Domestic. Like, the other girls are fighters by no stretch of the word. She's very domestic. Like, she's not a fighter. I mean, she's also 10 years old, so it's, not particularly something she's going to have skills for. And when you consider her mother is like, their mother is the strongest woman in the entire universe. I always found the family tree in Tenchi Muyo to be really interesting when you consider like
how many of them are related to one another.
Yeah, they're all blood related. It's very royal blood, incestuous, whatever. But like consider the two empresses of Jirai. His grandfather's mother, his great grandmother, the first empress of Jirai, is this very regal, reserved, demure lady. And technically, I guess his great aunt, who is the second empress, like Masaki, is this, she's like this Amazonian princess, basically. And that's Ayeka and Sasami's mother, and she's just a giant ball of fun. She's a spaz, basically.
I'm not finding anything really about his marriage.
Yeah, nothing ever comes of it, but the general consensus is at some point in the future he ends up marrying Sasami.
Actually, apparently the general consensus at some point he marries everyone.
Well, yeah, if you want to get technical.
And at one point he will have 2 kids, based on crap the original creator did. But whatever.
Who cares? That's
proper harem. You
Indeed.
Keep the harem. But
you screw all the ladies and kids with every last one of them. And then at some point in the far future they have a battle royale for your seat of power.
I think that's one of the reasons I like Handmaid May. Hate that title. It's because while it's sort of a harem anime, it's not really. It's kind of like a false harem because it's very clear who he ends up with. Like I said, she's the fucking title character.
Yeah.
But the fact that he, and a lot like Tenchi, are good male protagonists, and not good in the sense that they're good-sided, good in the sense that, they're not just absolute douchebags who've been dropped into the supposed glory harem.
Yeah, it's not like some hornball that's just gets dropped into a group of women who are all, lusting after him.
For some ungodly reason.
I mean, that's really the thing about Tenchi Muyo. The thing that makes it different from a lot of heroes is that he's not a proxy for the viewer. He actually is
he's a character.
He's a defined character in the story. I mean, yeah, technically he's supposed to be a proxy, but he literally is characterized. Like, he gets development.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like he has romantic interludes. Like, he says deep things that characterize him as a person, that he's not a hornball. He's not after them for like he's not after them for sex, basically. Mm-hmm. That's the complete antithesis of what Tenchi is. Like, Tenchi is a good man, basically. That's his existence. Like, he exists as basically a virtuous hero.
And that's why he gets the ladies.
Well, that's the whole deal. It's like when they're on that it's the one with I can't think of the bad guy's name. Oh God.
Which guy?
The first bad guy that shows up, not Dr. Clay, but
I don't remember who was before that.
Not Yosho. That's his grandfather. I gotta look it up. I'm sorry. I can't remember the guy's name. I just look at the thing. I'm so sorry. I used to know this backwards and forwards, but it's been so long since I've watched it. Oh God, what the hell is his name? Kagato, and he says, he says something like in the lines of like, why do you continue to insist on fighting for these women? And he says something on the lines of, no matter what happens, I would die before I would forsake any of these women.
Yeah.
And I just remember the first time when I was like, I think I was in like the 8th grade, and I watched it for the first time he said that. I'm just like, you sly son of a bitch. Right? Just the fact that he would, like, for a character to say something like that instantly characterizes them. Like, it defines who they are on, like, the moral alignment scale. Because he's basically being faced down with execution, and he says, I would rather die than forsake any of these women.
Did you get Tenchimu GXP?
I do own GXP.
Okay. You will have to tell me about it when you finally watch it.
I have watched it. It's been a long time since I've watched it.
Because that's the one I haven't seen.
It's kind of actually, that's the one. Okay, that's the one. There are two guys that live near Tenchi that kind of look like him. One of them is his neighbor Sena Yamada, who's a friend of his who lives like down the street. He's kind of got a similar appearance to Tenchi, but he's younger. Like, he's like, I'll say 14 or 15, where Tenchi's like, technically he's supposed to be younger than that. Technically he's supposed to be like 13, and Tenchi's supposed to be like 15, like a freshman in high school. But I technically believe that Tenchi's somewhere closer to like a senior, considering the kind of stuff he's doing. Like, I honestly believe like the Japanese set them way too young for what they're doing. Like, he should be like a junior and senior in high school, and they're saying he's a junior in middle school, and I'm like, no. If that were true, if he was truly a junior in middle school, which would make him like a 7th grader, there wouldn't be a bunch of full-grown women chasing after him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a junior, because that's the whole deal. Like, Seda is like, he's like a freshman in high school kind of thing, and then Tenji's like a junior, senior. And then there's also Tenchi Muyo War on Genmar, which stars his younger brother.
Okay.
Half-brother Kenshi.
It's been a while, so...
Yeah. I own it. I just bought it.
Maybe I should just rewatch all of that.
And I want to believe that he's... Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's his half-brother. He's born to Tenchi's father, Nobuyuki, and his second wife, Rei, who is actually a really fun character, too. You've watched the third set of OVAs, that's the green-haired lady who's actually awesome. She's very motherly. She's been very motherly, too, because Tenchi's actual mother's been dead for, 20 years? I'm trying to remember how long she's been dead. I wonder if Tenchi ever actually shows up. I probably shouldn't be reading through this, but whatever. No, I think this takes place in a different reality. I'm trying to remember like the like stuff that goes on in this, because it's always really. I really like Tenchi as a franchise. It's a very interesting show.
Yeah. It's a great show, even though I've apparently forgotten quite a lot about it. But I think it's also a great introduction into anime, because it plays on a lot of, traditional tropes, but in good ways.
Yeah, it's very well written.
Yeah. And it's, even the old stuff, it's pretty good dubbed. So.
Yeah, the dub is amazing, I think, for when you consider when it came out.
Can I just find, like, a list of harem animes?
Nice. We could probably go on for a while about harem animes, because there's some actual real good ones, and there's a whole bunch of just crap ones.
Yeah, and I'm like shit at names.
If you want to link me the list, I'll take a look, too.
I'm trying to find one. Because I found some lists, but they're just, like, lists of, like, people's preferred harem animes. I want, like, a list of tropes that involve harem anime or something. That's what I have to say.
Kiki angry, Kiki smash.
Chaos Head is a good harem anime. It's a lot of other things as well.
Indeed.
But I remember I loved playing the game, and I was really happy with the anime version of it. Because it kept in all the good stuff, the, psychological, oh my fucking god stuff.
Yes.
Because on the surface, it's a cute harem anime. Under that is, the sci-fi, psychological, mystery, thriller shit.
Yes, who doesn't like the psychological thriller shit?
And I do love psychological thrillers.
I'm trying to see if I can find Katsuhito. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Katsuhito is his Yosho. It's his grandfather. Nobuyuki.
Well, here's a list of harem animes, but that doesn't help because I know this isn't like all of them because harems are kind of a thing, and they're unintentionally shoved into a lot of different animes. Well, maybe not unintentionally, but not necessarily the main focus. For those of you who are listening who don't know what a harem anime is and are too lazy to Google it, it's essentially when your protagonist is surrounded by, not necessarily the opposite sex, it depends on the sexual orientation of what the hell's going on, but are surrounded by people who may or may not want to do them, or have the possibility to, or want a relationship or something along those lines. And that's maybe the main focus of the show. A lot of romantic comedy animes are like that, so they can have hilarious misunderstandings and whatnot.
Baka Shinji, whack, whack, whack. Sorry, I always go back to that. Because that's basically, NGE is famous for the whole, doofy guy blenders into cute girl, gets the whole baka baka baka, and then gets, knocked sky high.
Mm-hmm. Your dating sim is essentially a harem game.
Yeah, well, that's where harem animes come out of, is dating sims.
Choose your girl, or, try to get the right set of answers to get girl.
Basically, those, after a while, those become the whole game of try to get the girl that's most unlikely to date you.
Mm-hmm. Try to figure out where in the line of text you missed something and still can't get the right ending.
I'm trying to think of a popular harem anime where the male character is basically just a complete proxy, has no characterization whatsoever. I can't think of one off the top of my head that's been over here. Maybe I've just been lucky enough not to watch it.
I know they exist.
Because I know Kimagure Orange Road had a love triangle going, but it was very friendly until the one movie, and then it was just dark after that.
I would say love triangles are different than harems, but yeah, they'd probably be categorized as the same, because I think you only need 2 people going after one person.
Well, see, I legitimately consider harems to be, there's 1 or 2 maybe you would call main contenders, and there's a whole bunch of people who are interested but will never be an actual contender. I mean, that's pretty much technically Tenchi looks like that because it's Ryoko and Ayeka look like they're the most likely candidates to vie for his love, and then it ends up being that legitimately there's a chance that any number of the girls could end up dating him, or a lot of the key animation series Clannad and Air and Canon.
Well, a lot of those were based on
dating sims.
Yeah, so they have to be, because that's essentially what a dating sim is.
It's technically, I think technically they used to call Oh My Goddess a harem, but then they changed it to just a magical girlfriend anime because
it's very clear he's only going to end up with one person. Those other girls are just there.
From the very beginning, he only has eyes for Belldandy. There was never any doubt. I'm
glad they decided to, whoever makes up these terms, to go, well, this is technically different. Because there are a lot of, magical girl animes out there that are technically, I wouldn't call them harem animes, so.
Well, magical girls are a whole different...
Magical girlfriend is what I meant.
Oh, yeah.
Because They tend to come with, like, an entourage of other girls, so...
Well, it's like Cat Planet Cuties. It's very clear that the main character and the first cat girl that he comes in contact with are in love within, like, the first couple episodes. Like, the other cat alien girls are there, like, as support, as is, like, his neighbors, but, like, they're vying for his attention, but it's, like, within, like, 4 or 5 episodes, the cat girl has locked him. Like, there's no wiggle room anymore. Like, the other girls are trying, but he's locked in.
This is the end of part 1. Join us again in part 2. You are now listening to part 2.
I feel kind of stupid right now because I just realized Love Hina is kind of like a classic harem anime.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very classic example.
Yeah. It's also a classic example of the kind of characters you'll see in most harem animes because they tend to use the stock characters, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Because you want variety in your harem stock so that your viewer can go, oh, but he should love her because this, and this.
Yeah.
That's how they suck you in.
I'm trying to think of a harem anime like that where I felt like the guy should have ended up with a different girl, but I can't think of it because usually the girls that they have most well developed end up being the ones I think he should be dating. I particularly enjoyed. I don't own it yet, but it's something I'd like to get eventually. Is the part in Clanid where the main girl is finds out she's pregnant and her dad's like says something to the guy, her husband at this point, about like he better not be having sex with his daughter, and she just explodes with like hormones and screams at him, or not screams, but kind of harps at him that, you know, they're married and they have sex every night and it's the greatest thing in the world, and she's gonna have his baby, and and the father gets all red in the face and goes to grab the main guy who is her husband at this point, like goes to like choke him and stops and grabs him by the head and goes, "Congratulations, son. I'm so happy for you. I hope you do my daughter proud." He like, stomps off in the other direction. It's just like, what the hell just happened? I'm trying to think of what was I just watching where like the lines that were coming out of people's mouths were just making me roll. What the hell did I just watch? I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Oh, I was watching Castle in the Sky, and there were like a whole bunch of lines where I'm just like, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I love Ghibli films. Hayao Miyazaki is just, I'm probably butchering his name, but he's just an amazing director. Like the stuff is just on an aside. Like I'm really drawn into character development and like good, deep, thoughtful speech from characters.
Well then, yeah, Miyazaki's your guy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of like messages in his stories. I can't even remember like what some of the lines that really got me, but there were some just. In that one, there's the old lady that's the pirate captain, and I think it's like the Sambo gang or something, and it's named for the woman, and it's the lieutenants, all the lieutenants in the gang, or like all her lieutenants are her sons.
Yeah.
And so there's always this thing where they're like, "Mama, what do we do now?" She's like, "Don't call me Mama, call me Captain." And like the only people who pick up on that right away are like the two main characters who almost immediately start calling her Captain. Plus, I just love the robot in that movie. Like the robots are freaking amazing. There's like the one
gorgeous.
The one broken down robot in the fortress that wakes up when she does the spell of protection. It wakes the robot up, and he's broken apart, and he climbs up the stairs, and they're like, "Close the fire doors, that'll show him." And then you realize that one of the things, like the two open things on his face, aren't eyes; they're laser ports. He shoots the mega laser. It's like, boom, and it blows the whole like fire doors apart. And they're just like, oh crap! He just starts going nuts. He turns every which way, firing his laser beams, just cutting stuff to ribbons. And I'm like, oh my god! And the entire time she's running, screaming from him because she thinks he's trying to kill her, and he's trying to get, and the robot's trying to get to her to protect her from the army. And it's the most like, it's like, go robot, go! You are the most awesome thing in the world.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just like, I got like super sucked into like the robot fighting its way through the fortress. Just
that studio is very great at not just creating a great story, but a universe for that story to exist in.
Yeah, it feels like a fully functioning world, not just like a set piece.
Because almost every story you think of has some sort of vague history to work from. Like something happened back in the day, and something's happening now, and something might happen in the future. It feels fleshed out, and it helps you connect with what's going on and care about the characters.
Well, it's like Princess Mononoke takes place in what feels like, Warring States, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like, you've got the monks, you've got the really, really crude, like, black powder cannons that are like, proto guns. And, gods still walk the earth, and the gods are all, giant forest animals, boars, and the forest warden is like basically a stag with a human face.
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie for not just the characters, but it's trying to show this world that's making a major transition, the industrial age versus the old ways.
Yeah. And
because gods and magic are a real thing, you imagine they're gonna butt some heads.
Well, it goes to the whole, basically the death of the old gods.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for stories like that.
Yeah.
Because obviously we should move forward, but you gotta remember what happened before.
Yeah, what happens to displaced gods when man no longer worships the old gods? What happens to them, basically?
Okay, I have to run in the bathroom.
Okay.
So either don't say anything or try to be entertaining while I'm gone.
How to be entertaining? That is the question. And the answer is, I don't know. But I'd like to believe that if I want to be entertaining, then I have to dress up in a giant banana costume and dance around screaming at the top of my lungs, peanut butter jelly, a peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat. I don't remember the rest of the song, so I'm going to stop there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, Miyazaki films are pretty and they all have a message, usually something about nature or progress or change or God even knows, different people and learning to, like people for who they are and what they are and liking yourself and being yourself and God, who even knows? I mean, like, I don't even know what the message is for Spirited Away. I think it's don't sign up with an evil witch who runs a bathhouse. And don't eat her food so you don't turn into a giant pig. Who knows? One thing's for sure, I got a lot of anime to watch and not a lot of compunction to watch it. Although I'm making good progress on Railgun, so I guess, yeah. Who knows? I can't wait for Kiki to get back so we can continue talking, because I'm really bad at this. I mean, really bad at this. Really bad at this. And yeah. Oh, I failed miserably. I really would like to see. I think I'd really like to see. I'd like to see the Madoka Magical world, but like reset to like a Cardcaptor Sakura type setting where it's not like super dark. It'd be really interesting to see those girls working together in a world where they're not trying to kill each other. And seeing Kyuubi in a Kiros Bureau's role would be really funny. I don't know what else I would like to do. I need to get KO in season 2.
Yes, you do. Yes, you need to get that. And you just love cute magical girl animes.
I do. What can I say? Like I was saying. I mean, I really want to see. I really like to see like a reset of, or not a reset, but a different reality for Madoka Magica where they're actually in like a Cardcaptor Sakura type setting.
I would like to see like maybe a small show about what they're doing in the new universe, how it works and whatnot, instead of what we're probably going to get is movies about other things. But yeah, I feel like they can make a short show just on that.
Well, supposedly movies 1 and 2 are a rehash of the TV series, and movie 3 is what happened after she did the whole reset the universe.
Ooh, okay. And Spirited Away is kind of about a bunch of different things depending on the character, but more about finding the strength in yourself, I guess. Not just being the whiny bratty kid.
I guess.
Because she's put into, a really difficult situation and realizes that even though she needs help from her friends, which is perfectly fine, that she can do this. And fall in love with a river.
With a river spirit?
Yes.
Actually, not even a river spirit. He's a white dragon.
Well, he doesn't have a river anymore, so.
Yeah.
So it's got like a mixture of, we developed over this poor spirit's river and he lost himself, and also that, the world can be magical but cruel, and sometimes people are evil but sort of good. Evil
is a subjective term.
Yeah, it depends on whose point of view you're looking at.
Yeah. Very few men are truly evil. They simply possess a different viewpoint than you.
Yes. I had other thoughts, but I was busy in the bathroom doing bathroom things, so.
I know one of the other ones I need to rewatch from his movies is Whispers of the Heart. I haven't watched that.
Oh my god, I love Whisper of the Heart. That's such a beautiful story of not just a girl trying to find her place in the world, but how powerful being creative can be to someone's life. You don't even have to be good at it. Just take the time to make something for yourself.
Exactly.
Wasn't it? Who's the dog from Adventure Time?
Oh, Jake?
Yeah. Doesn't he say something like being crappy at something is the start of being really good at it? Something along those lines. I'm terribly misquoting him there.
What he's basically like the classic parable, I think is the word I want. That he's, or not parable, motto that he's getting at. It's kind of like YOLO. YOLO is basically carpe diem.
Mm-hmm.
What he's saying is, you have to be crappy at something before you can be good at it. Is every journey starts with but one step.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't become good at something unless you do it. Even if you're bad when you start, you'll get better if you keep doing it. It's like I watch artists, like professional artists, as they grow older and they do more and more. Like if you ever look at like the guy that draws Oh My Goddess, like the actual manga, like look at his original shit from the 80s against his modern chapters.
Yeah.
It's amazing how far he's come in like 25 years. It's just crazy. This is a guy who was an adult when he started drawing it and has had 25 years to work on his skills. And the stuff that he draws is just mind-blowing amazing compared to where it was years ago. And there's tons of artists like that in all cultures and all nations. And like, I mean, like, look at Walt Disney, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at or even look at like Pixar. Look at Pixar's stuff. Like, as a company, like, look at like their like Toy Story versus, I don't know, Monsters Inc. 2 that's coming out this summer.
Well, like, even if you like pause the screen on Toy Story versus Toy Story 3, you can see the depth of just the model they've been able to expand on over years on what is essentially just a simple toy.
Yeah.
Better textures, lighting, movement of character.
My God, it's like look at mid-90s era 3D games versus today's 3D games. Even look at stuff like they're remaking Fable, right? Like, they showed old Fable, the same scene in old original Fable against the new HD remake. It's like, holy crap, I didn't think the graphics were that bad 10 years ago. They're awful compared to what we have now.
Or just what people are doing nowadays with what we consider simple graphics and making such beautiful things because they're not solely relying on the graphics, or they've done it in such a way that's just so compelling.
I mean, look at like BioShock Infinity. Like, they completely blew away the whole like sepia-toned games, and they went with this really colorful world that becomes progressively grayer the longer you fight through it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was a really interesting idea, that when you first get there, it's very bright, it's very vivid, but the longer you're in that reality, the darker it becomes, to the point where it's all like ragged and shot up and war torn, and it ends up looking like the final couple areas end up looking like a lot of like modern shooters where everything is very war torn and like what's sort of like bombed out. I mean, I think like the use of color has become or not color, but like a lot of like what you would call traditional artistic techniques have become much more used in gaming, like color and light and dark and not like in the crude sense of like dark areas against light areas, but the sense of like
the use of color theory in order to invoke emotion instead of just my graphics are the shit sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because it's great that your models are so high def, but if everything else isn't there, then all I'm doing is looking at a pretty model that doesn't seem right in context.
What we were talking about last week, where I was saying it was proof that you could have all the flash and none of the substance. God, what movie were we referencing? I was like, look, it's all about building. God, I wish I could remember what movie we were talking about.
I don't remember what we were talking about, but Transformers comes to mind.
Well, Transformers is good, but there was another one that came out recently that was a good example of, you have a lot of money, you put a lot of money into a movie and it ends up not doing anything because the movie lacks substance. My example was like, you can spend a lot of money on a movie and it'll still just bomb. Like, I think I was using Star Wars as an example. Like, the original first Star Wars film was made on a shoestring budget, and it's still amazing to this day. I mean, the special effects are a little dated these days, but like, it's very warm in its own sense because it's a world that exists, that breathes. That's my big thing. Is like, we're losing a lot of the making the world a living, breathing place. And it's just a set piece. If you don't make the world breathe, it loses all of its oomph.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's a set on a back lot somewhere in California, not not Brooklyn, New York, or alien planet X kind of thing. And little things can go a long way. You give characters, ways to develop or change or make their viewpoints known. And I mean, just that could add a lot to like the whole making it a living, breathing world. Like, like even games go through that where like they don't have enough backstory so that like it doesn't feel holistic. It feels like broken. I can't think of a game where that happens off the top of my head, but there are games like that where they just don't have enough development. So you're just like, you're a guy in a place doing something, but there's no motive, there's no reason to go and do this thing. You're just like, I'm, legendary hero X, and I'm here to, kill the big bad. Not,
Yeah.
You went on this big journey and you've come so far. Like Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was one of those games where everybody thought it was going to be a horrible failure, but the way it was written, long before there were any other, before they were going to make any other Kingdom Hearts games, I will never forget making it through the entire game, fighting your way to Kingdom Hearts, and you come through that last door and you come out onto the beach on Destiny Island where you started, and you hear the big bad guy say, "You've come so far and you've learned so much, but yet you still understand absolutely nothing." And that's such a damning feeling to have fought your way here and be told by the bad guy that, you've come so far, but you haven't come far enough. You're still 100 years too early to win.
Yeah. I feel like the gaming industry, from a creative development standpoint, is becoming better at making that world and making you care. Because it used to be that was, like the thing indie people did. That's not really a AAA game thing. That was really sad for a while, but that was kind of true.
Well, the biggest problem is that the biggest studios have basically boiled their game series down to like the lowest common denominator so they can sell as many copies as possible. So their games lack any oomph. They're just, derivative shooters or... I mean, like, the new SimCity looked really cool, but like the actual system was just nothing to do with story, just so broken that
you couldn't make yourself a story, because those simulator games are all about A, doing the thing you're simulating, B, kind of making your own story as you go, and if the tools don't work, you can't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think about the old games where because the graphics weren't, spectacular, they really focused on the story. You have games like, Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI, or even the mid generation games like Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Like, their stories didn't always make a whole lot of sense, but they tried to, give the characters growth and allow them to change and feel. And I mean, it's like, what's a good example in anime of that? Like Martian successor Nadesco, like the entire series, basically right up until the last episode, the main guy and the captain, who is his girlfriend from back in the day, go back and forth about how they're not in love and blah blah blah. In the last episode, as this closeness, as they realize that no, they never actually fell out of love. They're just denying that, they don't want to admit that they have feelings for each other. And so the last episode is basically him chasing her through the ship, trying to profess his undying love to her, and ends with him finally, getting enough courage and finding the fire inside of him to tell her just how he feels about her. And it's heartwarming because it's this you feel this because they've been through all these trials and tribulations, and for him to finally say how he actually feels is just this like, oh yeah moment. Or even the story of Konata's mother in Lucky Star.
Yeah.
That is like the most heartwarming episode I've ever seen in my life, because
that is such a great episode.
When she remarks to her father that he's all these terrible things, he's got a Lolita complex and he's kind of a dope and blah 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 and this and that and the other thing. And, and so why did mom pick you? Of all the people she could have ended up with, what was it, what did she see in you? Naming all these bad things about him. And he says, there's one thing that I will tell you, and this will hold true no matter what. Of all the people that knew your mother, I loved her the most. And it's like, and then it cuts to this montage of them being together from high school on, and you just feel this, you realize that, her dad's this big goofball who's a professional photographer, and he's got these strange habits, and they've rubbed off. His daughter's basically, is as cute as his wife, but has all his bad habits, and you're like, you start realizing that, like, he's this actual genuine human being, and he's more than the sum of his parts.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's more to this guy than it seems. And it's beautiful in the sense that you realize he's not just a two-dimensional character filling a slot for a story. He's actually, they've given him depth. You realize that he has feelings, and he's emoting that, his daughter says, you're just this horrible human being. He says, I might be a horrible human being, but I loved your mother, and she loved me for being myself and not being anything other than myself.
That show may be about nothing, but it has such great characters.
Oh, yeah, it's...
Because, wonderful thing, they're not always around, but the main characters have fucking families, you see, unlike many animes where the parents are always somehow goddamn missing.
Yeah.
Or are, business people on business trips, and I actually live alone, which I imagine actually happens, but probably not as common as anime makes it seem.
No, God, no. That's just a sake of convenience type thing. It's like...
Well, we don't want to draw parents.
That's why I loved Ouran Host Club.
Yeah.
That they all had parents that they interacted with that had roles, maybe not major roles, but the 4 or 5 main characters all had parents that they interacted with on a regular basis. And like you start like the main character Haruhi, you find out her father's a drag queen. You're like, oh, what the hell? And then you find out that her mother was this just amazing, lady, basically, that she was this, she was a domestic mother, but she was tough, and she was an artist, and, she wore the pants in the family, and you start realizing that, the way she is because her parents were the people they are. And then Tamaki, the main character, the prince of the school, you find out his father is like the chairman of the board, and his grandmother has full control of the family, and his mother was this French model that the grandmother doesn't approve of, so she's completely out of his life, and he would love to be able to be, to see his mother and to interact with her, but he's got to do what he's got to do, because he's got to, otherwise there's all this stuff, his grandmother will take all his money and his inheritance, and it's like, and the I can't think of the other guy's name, the real smart, second in command. He's got this whole thing going on where his brothers are really these really successful businessmen, and he's trying to prove that he's the third son, so his father's got no aspirations for him whatsoever, and there's that whole deal at the end where he buys his father's company out from underneath him and gives it back to him just to prove a point. And it's this whole proof that I am worthy. Not only am I worthy, I'm better than all of you put together at half the age.
There are some great animes out there.
And that's another one of those ones where they really give character development a front seat in the series.
I would say that a lot more modern anime, or at least the ones I bother to watch, are better at characterization, and there are far less filler episodes these days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the audiences are much more... What's the word I'm looking for?
Discerning?
Thank you, discerning. I was going to say discreet. I'm like, that's not right. Well, I mean, it's not to say old series were lacking. There are some series that are really good at that, but I think it was more of a like popcorn fun kind of era, whereas now it's much more character driven.
You still have your popcorn fun. It's just we're also going to tell you a story because it took a lot of effort to make this, so let's make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've said before, also a lot less filler crap.
I really am enjoying that the only shows that really get filler anymore are show and jump titles,
which are made of filler. So.
Yeah.
So while you were at Applebee's, I was playing this game called Paper Please.
Okay.
It's in beta, so it's currently free.
Oh yeah, I saw the Yogscast playing.
Yeah, it is so much fun. Oh god, it's so simple. You're just looking at people's documents and saying whether or not they can enter the country.
Yeah.
But you also, have to feed your family, have to think about why these people are trying to enter, and then there's stuff going on around you, like terrorists are trying to get in, or criminals are trying to enter your country to hide. And when you fuck up, not only have you possibly let in a criminal into your country, but if you fuck up too often, you're going to start losing money, and then you can't feed your family, or you might not be able to turn the heat on for the night, or, oh my god, did I save up enough money in case one of my family members gets sick? Oh crap, I have to buy medicine. Ah!
Yep.
I swear it's fun.
Sounds like it.
I recommend people get it. I haven't played any of the other games he's made, but really fun.
No, I feel ya.
And for something that seems simple, it's a lot of thought had to be put into it. Because I noticed that it's not exactly the same people. Like, it's not a set, this person every time you start a new game. It's a bit randomized. Different people.
Yeah.
And that is more effort than I would be willing to put in. But
definitely understandable.
But I don't make games, so that's a good thing. Although there is a notebook full of ideas for an adventure game series that I will never make.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to talk about.
Let's see, we sort of talked about harems for a little while. I never did find, a good, complete list.
I'm actually looking through my actual collection database. I'm trying to see if there's anything I've forgotten.
Nor can I really think of off the top of my head where I always thought that they should have ended up with that other person.
Oh, how about that one I watched over the weekend? Don't Leave Me Alone, Daisy.
Yes, the one where it was bad and then it was good.
This is the end of part 2. Join us again in part 3. You are now listening to part 3.
Well, because basically they spend like a good 3/4 of the series. Basically, it's like what happened if you made a comedy series about a guy stalking a woman.
Which is.
Or this is the one I was telling you about, where the guy was told by his grandfather that like the world was gonna have a nuclear holocaust, so he's been living in his bomb shelter his entire life. So he's really socially stunted. And this girl loses her hat over his fence, and she comes to get her hat, and one of his cameras picks her up, and he's like, she's beautiful, I must date her. And he does all this stuff trying to woo her, and she's like, you're a freak, go the fuck away. And then she slowly, for lack of a better word, slowly starts suffering from Stockholm syndrome. She ends up slowly liking him for, and there's also this thread going on where you start learning little when it starts out, there's no characterization to tell you what's going on with him. You just know he's a socially stunted nerd with he tries to basically capture her. And then as he's out in public more often, you pick up more and more on this he's this way because of this, this, and this. And as he spends more time in society, he becomes less strange. And I can't remember what the final straw is that like turns it all over, but it's...
I wouldn't know. I have not seen it.
Yeah, no, it was really interesting because like when I was watching it, man, I was just like, this... It kind of got cute at the end because like he got to be kind of normal and she ended up liking him, so it was kind of adorable, like the whole switch over of where he kind of became a normal human being. He was like adjusted, and she ended up liking him because he got better with time. He learned how to be a good normal human being.
And all I know about that is what you've told me. You were very complaining at the start, and then you were essentially trying to tell me the plot. And then the turnaround episode happened, and you're like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. Well, that makes it less sucky now, sort of. I suppose what you were trying to say at the time was that the characterization was poorly paced, or...
Yeah.
It made you not want to get there, but when you got there, it all worked out?
Yeah, I'm going back through our logs to try to see if I can remember where I left off.
I don't know. Some days nothing happens, and some days are so full of text. Only a little bit longer until Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Sunday morning, I'm picking up the DS with it.
And hopefully mine will ship here when it's supposed to.
That's the hope, right?
Yep. Here, let's double check when it says this is supposed to show up. Open orders. Yes, I am that person.
But can you prove it? Can you prove it?
The estimate says the 14th now, not the 12th.
Yow. That's, like, pretty late.
It's Friday. You'll have it a whole, pretty much a week before I do.
Yeah, I'll be on like my third or fourth mortgage at that point. I'll come to your town and I'll fill it full of graffiti and pitfalls and just be like, ha ha, suck it. Kiki types furiously.
People are bugging me on Skype.
Kiki.
Oh.
I need to watch Fashugi Yugi one of these days.
No, you don't.
Why not?
That's on my list of animes from when I was a teenager that were overglorified and now are continuously overglorified by nostalgia. I don't feel like it's actually that great of an anime.
Well, I own 3 of the 4 box sets. I've got the green one, the black one, and the red one. I'm missing the blue one, which is the second half of the TV series. And according to Bear, I'm going to die if I don't watch Brotherhood by the end of the summer, so I'm going to have to buy that at some point.
You know what? I'm going to look up some top animes of all time and see how I agree with them.
Yeah, that could be fun.
It's almost always full of stuff we thought was groundbreaking back when we were younger, and maybe a few newer things.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
God, green. Now that was a clusterfuck.
Ah! Okay, any website that automatically plays music is the devil on my list. You make that shit clickable.
You, sir, are the devil. It's kind of funny. I have made team Hanyako, made team Love Verte, and I have handmade May right next to each other.
Okay, so here's IMDb's list, or a list someone made on IMDb.
Cool, let's take a look.
It starts at number 1, but I want to start from the lowest first.
We'll start at the bottom and work our way up.
Yeah, so click the little arrows.
Alright, number 50, The 12 Kingdoms. I've never seen it, I've got no idea.
I have not seen it, so I don't know.
They're probably right.
Yeah, let's see. High school student Yoko Nakamura is approached by a strange man who claims he's been searching for her and that she is the rightful ruler of his kingdom. You know what? That sounds interesting.
Yep.
Okay, I might have to watch that. And then 49 is Inuyasha, which I have a love-hate relationship with.
My friends basically cut it. Basically, that's what I'm like. Put it down to the way that Rumiko Takahashi writes her female protagonists or main female characters. That she just loves to basically make people hate her main characters.
I'm pretty okay with that, but I think I've said this like a bazillion times, and I clearly mean that literally. It's a show that is too long. Too long. Moving on to 48. What is number 48? Oh, I'm not even going to try to say that. I know what it is. Hajime
no Ippo?
Yeah, it's the boxing anime. I have heard great things, but I don't watch sports anime,
yeah.
So...
That basically translates roughly as fighting spirit.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what the English title says, fighting spirit. God damn it. Okay.
47 is School Rumble. I don't know about... Well, it is a top 50, so I'll give it there.
School Rumble is very
good.
funny. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I would say it's in the top 50. I liked it a lot. I actually have the locker set for season 1 because that was back when they were still doing stuff like that. So I have the metal box with looks like a locker, and that's cool.
And then
Macross, just old school Macross. Yeah, I'd say that's in the top 40.
It might be higher on my list, but yeah, Macross is good. It suffers from bad dubbing from time to time, but yeah.
If you could still get like the original uncut Macross, it's supposed to be amazing compared to the Robotech version. I only had the Robotech version because I missed out on buying Macross when it was like around. Spice and Wolf, yeah, I would say Spice and Wolf probably rates even higher than 45 on my list.
If I was making a list for animes, I think of animes I think people should watch. Wow, that was more difficult than it should have been. It would be higher, but I understand why it's lower. It's a great anime, but I don't think it's a wide market anime.
Gotcha.
So it's not like you've never watched anime, watch this. It'd be like, okay, you've watched a bit of anime, watch this. Now, I really like 44, Time of Eve.
I've never heard of Time of Eve. Tell me about it.
Eve no Jokin. Where's the thingy? Let's double check that I'm not confusing this with something else. Essentially, it's the way I have it is like more of a movie format, but it's the world has robots and androids and whatnot, and they sort of have sentience. And Time of Eve, or Eve no Jokin, is the name of this coffee shop that allows them to enter, because it's trying to say that it's not necessarily that they're not flesh, they have sentience, so they should be allowed, to think for themselves. And it's centered around this boy who's kind of like, I both agree and disagree with this, and him coming to terms with that. It's very subtle. It's just a bunch of people in a coffee shop sitting around interacting with one another, and some of them happen to be robots.
Interesting.
It's very slow too, so it's also not one of those you've never seen anime, watch this sort of things. It's one of your thought provokers with very little violence or flash.
Gotcha.
But
that's interesting.
And then Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah, but Tenchi Muyo is in my top 10 because I actually. You gotta remember, I was in 8th grade when it first came out, so it's like one of those things that it's stuck with me.
Tenchi Muyo is on my list of old animes that are actually good.
Yeah, it's actually like well written, well animated. Yeah, it's a well put together series, so it just continues to stick. What is it? Bakemonogatari?
It's the one I couldn't say if I wanted to, but I love that show.
I'm told it's amazing. I will probably never see it because it's so goddamn expensive to collect.
Yeah. And they made more of it recently, so...
Yeah.
It's got a different title, Nako, something.
I really wish that Aniplex of America would find a better way to release their stuff other than in god-awful expensive box sets.
But it's another one of those great, not only is it gorgeous to look at, but thought-provoking things, because it's got complex people, it deals in the supernatural, and it's centered around a guy who both is a do-nothing and a do-everything.
Gotcha.
Like, he has no semblance of self-worth, but he thinks everybody around him is worth saving. But not in your cheesy manner, just like everyone deserves a chance, sort of thing. And
that's always a good character to offset with.
Yeah.
41. Full Metal Panic Fumafu. Yes. Just yes.
I might have it a little higher, but probably not above 30. I love the show, but I'm not, like, in love with it.
No, it holds up very well compared to the others more serious Season 1 and Season 2.
Yeah.
I generally like when they take a very serious show and then put it either in a humorous or a lighthearted setting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just enjoy those shows.
It did very well.
Yeah. I think it's still one of the most popular seasons. And then there's another one of those, Katanagari, or whatever. I'm not going to try.
I have not seen the show, but I read a translation of the light novels.
Gotcha.
But I hear that the anime is beautiful, but I don't know about it beyond that.
Is this the one with, like, the samurais and stuff?
It's about a swordsman.
Yeah. This one looks really pretty. It's got super bright and colorful.
It's on my list just for the gorgeous visuals, and I enjoyed what I read, assuming it was translated at least somewhat competently.
Yeah, I want this, but it's ridiculously expensive, and it's one of those ones where you get no discounts. It's only $52, but it's just it's only 6 episodes. Oh, but they're 50-minute episodes, so it's fairly long actually.
39 is Eureka 7.
Which is probably...
It'd be higher on my list.
Yeah, it used to be number 1. It's probably in the top 20 for me.
I wouldn't say it would be number 1 for me, but this was great because not only did I like it, my husband enjoyed watching it, and he does not like a lot of anime.
Dude, but I mean, Eureka 7 had a shit ton of character development. I mean, a ton. Everybody developed. In one way or another.
Great characters and a great story, and everything progressed over time. Nothing was like, oh, this is always going to be that way in this show. Nope. We are an uphill curve, people.
What I loved about it was it started out really lighthearted, and then you got into the seriousness of war in the middle. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of. I remember being really depressed because basically from episode about 5 or 6 until about episode 25, Renton or 22 or 23, Renton basically gets the shit kicked out of him every episode by oh god, I can't think of his name now. The captain of the ship. Wow, I can't think of his name, and he was such a great character. He's voiced by Wow. I have to look it up because I'm gonna feel really stupid until I remember his name. What the hell is his name?
We are terrible at anime.
Well, it's been years since I watched it. Let's see here. Characters. Holland Novak. There we go. Who was voiced by... he's one of my favorite voice actors. Crispin Freeman. And you watch him kick the shit out of him, and what you realize is he's doing this because he's dealing with the fact that he can no longer be a child. Not in the sense of he's a full-grown man, but not in the sense of being a child in the sense of being immature, but being a child in the sense of he knocked his girlfriend up and now has to be a father. He's going to have to be a father, and he's dealing with the fact that once this happened, he's no longer a child. He's now somebody's father, so now he is always going to be considered an adult by everybody who interacts with him, and he's dealing with this fact that his innocence is not innocence. His childhood is over. The time of being a freeloading, surfer basically is done. He now has to provide, and it's just this. And then watching Renton Thurston grow up is just really like so heartwarming at the end. Like those last 10 episodes are just crazy when he proves what an actual man he is. Everybody's just. It's not even that. It's like he does this stuff, and then like at the very end when they're suiting up for the final battle, or after the final battle, and he's gonna go save Eureka, and the entire crew remarks, "Wow, Renton, you've actually become a man. What happened? Because you were nothing but a little kid when you came on this ship a year ago, and now you're a man." And that's the whole living up to the living, like finally coming out from under the shadow of his father. So yeah, it's top 20 at least, probably top 10 for me.
Yeah, that's on my list of shows I need to rewatch.
Monster, I got nothing. I'm told it's amazing. I've never bothered to watch it.
It's good. Like, if I had a top 200, it'd be in the hundreds, but it's not like my favorite. It's more compelling for the story it's trying to tell than the actual show itself.
Yeah.
The show itself kind of falls, and I really hate the dub.
Gotcha.
And 37 is a good one.
The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
That's okay. I love that show. But
If you're a high volume anime fan, it's a hard one not to have in your top 10.
Yeah.
It's well written. It's quirky. The characters are unique and diverse. They don't always follow the tropes that they seem like they should follow.
Well,
So,
yeah,
guys.
when you look at the show on the surface, it seems like it's another one of those, this is a high school, and here are the people in it, and they fit into these categories sort of thing, when it's really not.
Yeah, it's strange, to say the least.
36 is Hellsing Ultimate, which, no.
Top 20 for me.
That'd be, like, in the 70s for me.
I really got sucked into the whole Alexander Anderson versus Alucard whole thing in the first couple episodes. I enjoy Crispin Freeman playing a psychotic vampire.
No. 35 is Full Metal.
Alchemist, yes.
Everybody,
yeah.
it's a great show, but that's probably about where I would put it on if I had like a personal list. Because I love the show to death, but at the same time, it's not like It's a great show. Lots of people should watch it. If you haven't, go for it.
It's
but
one of those
not the end
ones
of
that
the world if you don't watch it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those ones that once you watch it like once every couple years or once a year. It's not something I feel the need to like rewatch religiously. It's also kind of depressing, which I generally avoid shows like that because it's, life is serious enough as it is. I prefer stuff that's, funny and cute and silly because I live a serious life and I'm not looking. I mean, I like the show. I like serious shows, but there's one of those things like I watch them once and that's usually good enough for a while. So that's Claymore at 34, and I got nothing. I was gonna watch it. I never watched it. I never bothered buying it. Now I'm kind of just like, at some point I'll probably pick it up.
I feel like Claymore is something that a lot of people are really excited for, but I'm not. I did not like it watching it. I felt characters were really bland, and there was a lot of misogynistic undertones going there. Because, your lead character is a badass chick, but she's more of a badass chick for the purpose of a guy watching her, not actually for her being a badass chick.
Gotcha.
There was an interview with someone who made up a new term for that, and I already forgot it.
Good job.
Yeah. But she wrote like a book on the action chick who is not really an action chick. She's really just a sex toy for men to look at. And I've already forgotten the term for it, but whatever. 33 is Crest of the Stars, which I have not watched.
Neither have I got nothing.
But 32 is Gurren Lagann.
That's top 3 for me. To this day, Tenga Toppa Gurren Lagann just sticks with me for its message of, even if you can't believe in yourself, if people believe in you, that's good enough.
Yeah, it's great. It's a mixture.
It follows classic fantasy storyline.
No, it is a great mixture of classic tropes and anime craziness.
It's pretty much like the first episode of Star Wars. Like, seriously. No, I mean, really. Kamina is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's the teacher figure. He has to die for the main character to grow, and his death is extremely impactful for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally, Kamina exists as a force of nature in that world, in that universe, because his philosophy, his ethos, basically drives an entire group of people. I find that amazing. Like, he's literally becomes a philosopher, a teacher to all people. He's, just who the hell do you think I am? And, don't call me Kamina, call me bro. Like, the very nature of his existence. And I mean, to me, Kamina exists is the perfect example of manhood. Because there's that whole thing in the first episode where Simone says, I can't do this, bro. You take the robot. And he's like, no, you're going to do this, Simone, and you're going to kick ass. And it's like, holy shit. Gungrave.
Well, I was going to talk about Yuko.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't like Gungrave, by the way, but I love Yuko because she's your classic. She looks like just a hot chick that someone stuck a gun on, but she has character. Her tits are out because she wants them out. They're not there for you. They're there for her.
They're used as leverage.
Mm-hmm. She knows she's hot, and she's going to use it against you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, my favorite line of all from Kamina. Oh my God, you're just another one of those fat-ass cave chicks. Sorry, I love that line.
Yes, but I don't like Gungrave.
There's not much to say Gungrave. It's basically the Godfather.
I feel like that's insulting.
Or sorry, Scarface.
I feel like that's insulting to Scarface too. But yeah, it's like someone who thought they understood Scarface made an anime.
I like how they talk about it's made by the same guy that did Trigun, which I'm sure we'll see somewhere in the top 10. Future Diary. Oh, God.
Which you need to see.
I have the first half ordered. It's coming in August when it releases.
That is a great anime. I'd probably put it a little higher, but yeah, it is so good.
I'm told it's absolutely crazy.
It is very crazy.
Oh, look at that. Number 29.
Ranma 1/2 is still good, but I would not... I love the show, and nothing is wrong with it. It's just that I don't want to watch it ever again.
Ranma 1/2 is one of those things you watch when you're bored out of your mind, just kind of sitting around going, what should we do? I don't know. You just throw it on, because
it's a great old anime, but it's an old anime.
Well, what's really funny is it starts in like the mid to late 80s, so like the animation is really crap the first couple seasons, and then by the time you get to like season 4 or 5, it's pretty good. By the time you get to season 6 and 7, the animation is just amazing because it's taking place in like the mid 90s at that point, and so like the animation quality just shoots so far up. It just blew my mind to watch the animation quality increase as like, technology improved over like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I own all of it. It's super fun, but
I still love the show, but yeah, it's not the shit to me anymore.
No. And I only bought it because it was a Black Friday special a couple of years back where you got each season for $20 instead of like $50. So, yeah.
28 is Yu Yu Hakusho, which I only liked the first season of. And It's been so long, I'm not sure I could say I like the first season of it anymore.
It gets a little weird after the first Dark tournament.
Well, it turns into your tournament and your classic Shonen Jump stuff, and I don't care for that.
Yeah.
27 is Darker Than Black, which I have not seen.
I haven't seen it. I'm told it's really good and it's something I need to buy and so on and so forth, but I can't place it. I don't know if Yu Yu Hakusho, which is okay. Like I said, it gets after the first season when they finish the first Dark tournament arc, it's like you're just like, okay, whatever. Black Lagoon, number 26.
I do enjoy the show, but I would not put it at 26. I'd put it like up in the 70s.
Yeah, I think out of 50, I think it's right about where it needs to be, but it's not. It doesn't have that all encompassing appeal. It's very serious. It's got kind of a warped sense of humor, very dry, very pessimistic humor.
Yeah. 25 is Code Geass.
I would say 25 is right about where it should be.
I probably wouldn't have it on the list, so there we go.
Yeah. I think after rewatching the first season again, the first like 20 episodes are interesting, and then like it gets crazy in the last 6. Like once the princess goes crazy and starts shooting people, from there on it's just a fight to the finish, because all bets are off once they corrupt the princess.
24 is Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, which is really good.
Top 10 for me.
Yeah.
I don't even put it at 24. It's in the top 10.
I love that show. So
it's as I said last week. It's everything that Patlabor tried to be but couldn't because of the time and the technology. They got a lot of stuff right with, they got a lot of stuff they could do that they couldn't do in the 80s with Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Let's see. 23 is City Hunter, which no.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched it.
I've seen City Hunter, and you know what? Don't say it's because I'm a chick, because I love action films, but this is like someone took an old, crappy action film and turned it into an anime. It has all the bad stuff of an action film, and I hate it.
Gotcha. I mean, going back to Ghost in the Shell for a minute, just thinking about it, like what really pulled me in was the fact that they had the spider tanks, the Tachikomas. They got like the 6 or 7 like main little girl voice actresses to do that, and that just to me like that really set it up that you would have, you would give these fighting war tanks the minds of little girls basically.
I wish I had one on this desk. Well, I just hit my keyboard out.
I wish I owned an actual Tachikoma. It'd just be fun to have. And I would feed her natural oil, and she would gain sentience.
See, 22 is Evangelion, which
of course.
I love the show.
No list is complete without Evangelion.
I would not make someone watch it though. I love the show, but
as I grow older,
it's very off-putting to some people.
As I grow older, I find Shinji more and more as a whiny little shit that needs to be slapped.
This is the end of part 3. Join us again in part 4. Continuing now with part 4.
Yes, I agree that his issues are legitimate and that he deserves
It's not
help.
even that his issues are legitimate. I think that he was made to be hated, which I'm very big on, that your main character does not have to be likable. Sometimes you need somebody to hate as your main character to drive the plot. And he's someone I both hate and love, because it's like, oh, you poor thing, I just want to strangle you.
Well, he just screams fucking Like, he actually acts like an average 15-year-old. Like, he's just so fucking...
Which is probably why a lot of people hate him, because they're like, oh, I wasn't like that when I was 15. No, fuck you. Yes, you were.
No, yes, you were. I was, like, when I was 15, because this was the first... NGE was one of the first series I ever collected. I was a fucking freshman in high school, like, when this came out in the Platinum Edition, or maybe it was sophomore. But I was about his age. And I thought, yeah, dude, I totally feel what Shinji's feeling. And then I rewatched it as a 25-year-old, and I'm like, dude, Shinji, you are such a whiny little bitch. Seriously, shut the fuck up, get in the giant robot, and go fight the fucking monsters, okay? You can be a little bitch later. We got giant monsters to fight. Yes, I feel your pain. Your father's a douchebag and your mother's dead. Totally understand that. You're living with two super hot chicks that would probably fucking, slob on your knob the moment you dropped your fucking pants, so shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up. Sorry, that was kind of crude, but it's like, I mean, legitimately, like, I mean, to be fair, Asuka's a head case too, just like him. That's the whole deal, was like all the pilots,
head cases.
Yeah, all the pilots have issues for one reason or another.
Well, in reality, most people have some sort of issue going on, but if any average Joe was suddenly put in that fucking situation, no one's going to be the best or great in that sort of situation. You're being shoved in a giant fucking robot fighting what everybody is essentially calling angels who want to destroy everything. Oh, well, having to go to school and shit. It's not happy days. It's fucking the end of the goddamn world.
It's war.
And you're a damn teenager. You're dealing with puberty and teenage bullshit while trying to be a hero when you don't really want to be.
Yeah, if you thought NGE was bad, I don't know if it's gonna show up in the list, but Fafnir. Oh my God, Fafnir.
I love. Did I? No, I haven't. Yeah, you talked about Fafnir before.
Fafnir is everything NGE would be if it was taking place in an actual war zone.
Yeah.
Like, NGE, like, kind of gets there. Fafnir is right there. People are dying. The kids are being forced to fight because they're the only ones that can pilot the robots. And they are dying left and fucking right. And the parents are having to deal with the fact that they're sending their own fucking children to fight these horrible monsters. And they're sending them to their deaths.
Yeah.
And they're having to deal with the fact they're fucking killing the next generation so that they can survive a little bit longer. And they don't, like, the adults at NGE never discuss this, but they actually take time in Fafnir just for the adult characters to sit down at the bar and talk about the fact that is what they're doing right? Is it okay that they're sending their children to fight their battles because they couldn't find a way to utilize, like, the next generation of weapons without putting their own children in the cockpits? And like, as much as I thought Fafnir was retarded, like, I felt like that was a legitimate argument. Like, if you're the grown adult in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're sending your 15 to 20-year-old, sons and daughters to fight in the war, at what point do you look back and go, is this all right? Is this what we should be doing? So after that is Samurai Champloo, which is Samurai Champloo. I like it, but not enough that I think I'd have it in a list.
I think I'd have it on a list. I'd probably have it a little higher up. I wouldn't go like Evangelion and fucking Champloo. I love the show. It's beautifully animated. It's quirky. It's got a bit of drama in it, but it's more on my list of shows that I would show people to get into anime.
Well, it's because it's by the same people who did fucking Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that's just a great team right there.
Yeah.
Okay, 20 is Elfen Lied, and I think Elfen Lied is overblown shit.
I do too. I think it's one of the stupidest shows I ever watched in my life. My friends thought it was the most, like, introspective, philosophical thing in the world. I'm like,
it's not even all that philosophical. It's like, you're not really asking any big questions here. You're showing us the aftermath of the shit people already did. There's no longer any questions to ask.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's boobs and violence. That's like almost every other anime fucking ever.
To me, it was basically just showing you what happens when you beat people up enough that they get mad enough to actually unleash the dragon.
Mm-hmm. Which it could have been done so much better, and animation's kind of sloppy too. And ooh, there's Latin in the title sequence. Oh, fucking dramatic. Elfenlied is deep shit for people who don't want to think.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
I bought it because I thought the graph, like the actual art looked cool. I started watching it and I'm like, this is like, what really turned me off was the episode where they spend 5 minutes showing you the kids beating up the dog. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That was not necessary in the least. I get it. It's animated. It's not real. But to me, like you're showing the cruelty of human beings. You're showing how inhuman humans can be. But it's like you could have alluded to it without actually showing them, kicking the dog.
I didn't mind that because, to me, yes, it's whatever. It's fucking animated. But at the same time, it's like, in the context of the show, you're already showing us that humans are shit. What the fuck? Yeah, we do stupid things. You're not really telling a great story, though. You're just kind of going, yeah, we're violent. Here's some more shit. Oh, we're violent, by the way. Here's some more shit. We get it. It was really bad at doing whatever the fuck it was trying to do.
Basically, to me, Elfenlied is basically saying monsters don't come from nowhere. Monsters exist because humanity is monstrous.
Which, there are plenty of other shows that have done that very well. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything, but any dramatic, dark anime that's popular probably did it really well. And
no, I agree. I'm just saying,
it's not that it's not a story that doesn't need to be told. I love stories like that. It's just
it's a story
very bad at it.
Yeah. It's a story worth telling about, how the things we do can create the monsters we fear in the future, kind of thing. Like, you need to be careful how you treat people because, the guy you're kicking now might end up being, it's Iron Man 3.
Is it? I haven't seen Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah, never mind. I won't spoil that.
Dude, I haven't seen Iron Man 2, The Avengers, Thor, Captain America.
Do you mind if I spoil it?
I've probably been spoiled on a lot of it, so go ahead. By the way, everybody, Iron Man 3 spoilers, even though it's been out for a little while and you all have fucking internet, you probably heard it.
So, at the very beginning of the movie, they do a flashback to, like, the mid-90s, and there's this guy, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's like, he's working for he's developing a think tank called AIM, and they're working on this new product, and they want to know if Tony will join the think tank, and he blows him off and says, "Oh, I'll meet you up on the roof at midnight." And he's like, "Okay, I'll see you at midnight." And he never shows up because he's busy screwing a scientist from this conference that they're at. Him, the guy, this other scientist. He's screwing this girl, this female scientist, and he never shows up. And so because of this, the guy becomes like a really successful CEO of his own company, and then starts all this shit with Tony of like this, that, and the other thing. This is one of those deals where it's like the guy only did this because Tony fucked with him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Had Tony even showed up and said no, none of this would have happened. But because he didn't, he created the monster that hunted him.
Well, just like he created the bombs that blew him up in the first one, and
yeah,
you make weapons. Eventually, you're going to meet your weapon.
Yeah, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter, I don't know anything about, so yeah. Anyway.
That's just the 1999 version, which I think is incomplete, isn't it? Because there's a new version which
is even more incomplete.
Well, it's still going, I think, so I don't even know if you can count that as incomplete.
Yeah,
I don't know which one might be better, so what the fuck ever, and I don't really remember the old one, so I can't really comment, but I like Madhouse, and they made the new one, so whatever.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even have it on my list because I don't even know what it is. So,
Yeah.
18?
Berserk.
I got nothing to say. I don't even care.
It's a bit too classical for me. I mean, I'm not going to say it's terrible, but it wouldn't be on any of my lists. So that's all I really have to say about that.
17. Death Note. I think probably one of the more overblown mainstream animes out there.
I really hate the animated version of that.
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes.
I mean,
and just was like, no.
I like the manga, but it's not the shit. It's a great concept, but I feel like it's too full of itself, if that makes any sense. It's a great story concept that has bad actual story. And then the anime version just makes it worse. Because it does a lot of stretching.
Gotcha.
And like vaguely changes the ending. 16 is Lupin the Third.
Top 10.
Yeah, I love Lupin. So
I think even the old Lupin from the 70s really holds up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was well written. The characters are very deep. That sounds silly considering there's not a lot of character development, but like they have character. Characters have depth.
He's your kind of classic lovable rogue who's the bad guy while being the good guy at the same time, and he's the band of people around him. It's fun.
They're stealing for the challenge, not for the money.
15 is Captain Taylor, which
one of the dumbest shows I've ever seen. I own it. It's okay.
I understand why a lot of people love this show, but I could not rewatch a lot of it because it suffers from old anime syndrome.
I agree. I agree completely.
I love the characters more than I love the show. And aren't they remaking it?
I don't believe so.
Am I thinking of a different one?
Because I own both the TV series and the OVAs, and they're decent. The OVAs are much better than the TV series. Mostly because they're more focused.
No, they're not remaking it. Okay, but yeah, it's old and it suffers from that. It's a bit too stereotypical and yeah.
It's kind of dopey.
It would not be on any of my list, and I would not recommend anybody bother to watch it. But I love it for what it could have been. That's what I'm saying. 14 is GTO.
Great Teacher Onizuka. I'm told it's awesome. I own season 2. I have yet to acquire season 1, so I have not watched it yet, but I'm told it's like actually very funny. It's very cute, like very. There's some serious parts, but there's a lot of lighthearted because he's a delinquent that becomes a teacher, and it's very like the substitute.
Yeah, I like the show, but I wouldn't put it on my anime list of all time. I get why it's here, but it wouldn't be on my personal list. I do enjoy it though, and if I somehow did put it on a list, I wouldn't have it at 14. 13 is Planets.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about getting it. I never actually bothered.
Maybe I have to rewatch it again to actually give some input. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I honestly cannot remember. I didn't hate it, I can tell you that much, but I can't remember if it moved me at all. So that means it must have been boring. And when I say that, it sounds like I don't like philosophical animes, but I actually do. It's just I think it was done poorly.
That's usually what happens. They have some great, far-reaching goal, but they never quite get there. 12? Or are you still working on 13?
No, 12.
Guardian of the Sacred Spirit, which is known as Moribito in this country. It's all right. It's pretty generic, in my opinion.
It's good for what it is.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be on my list. Just like 11 would not be on my list.
Rurouni Kenshin, if you just go to season 2, is a classic.
I don't like the TV show. I really like the movies, and I keep meaning to see the live action one. But
the movies are a whole different thing. The movies are dark, whereas the TV show is very lighthearted.
It's not the darkness versus the lightheartedness. It's more the animation style and I feel like sometimes from episode to episode the show is kind of inconsistent, which is an old anime thing.
I liked it a lot. Every episode from season 1 and 2 I felt were really good because they all have story-driven and character-driven plots.
I understand why people like it, and from an overall story standpoint, I like it too. I just really don't like the show by itself.
So you don't like the franchise?
No, I like the franchise. I don't like the anime by itself.
Because the anime is basically a retelling of like the first 5 or 6 volumes of the manga.
Mm-hmm. It's a complicated relationship of both enjoying and not enjoying.
You just don't like the animation style.
It's not just that, but it's mostly that.
So it's that.
Yeah.
You can say it. It's all right. You're not.
No, there's a lot of old animes out there where I will refuse to watch them solely based on how shitty I think they look. But depending on the episode with Rurouni Kenshin, it's really that. But that's not my only problem with it. There were a lot of other things, and it just makes me not want to watch it. But I still enjoy it at the same time. I enjoy the story, but not the actual show.
I couldn't stand like the OVAs and movies, but I love the TV show.
I love the movies, so
they're just too fucking dark for me.
Well, you don't like a lot of dark, and I love lighthearted things too, but I like dark more. I think. What's that? Bunny Drop?
Bunny Drop.
Yeah.
I never bothered to watch it. I'm told it's supposed to be very the TV show is supposed to be much more endearing than the manga, which becomes kind of strange at the end. Because basically the anime basically leaves it at him raising his 6-year-old aunt, I guess, because it's his father's illegitimate, or sorry, his grandfather's illegitimate daughter.
Yeah, so yeah, his aunt.
Yeah. And it leaves it at that, but in the manga, it ends up being like when she grows up, she gets out of high school type thing. Like she finishes high school, they end up falling in love, which is a little weirder. Because at that point, like you think he's in his like late 20s when he adopts her, so he's in like his mid 40s in the manga when she finishes high school. So that's kind of, like the TV show keeps it very much just a father-daughter type relationship, but like the manga actually picks up on the whole she falls in love with him, he falls in love with her, and I'm just like, yeah,
this isn't like he adopted her. They're related. That's weird. But a lot of things have that, so
yeah,
I'm sure it's probably good. It looks cute, so
it's supposed to be. Yeah, the TV show is nice. You know what I'm surprised? You know what I'm actually surprised they've never made into an anime? Yotsuba. I'd actually like to see Yotsuba anime. Even OVAs would be cool. I think they could do a lot with that, honestly. It looks funny. Like the couple chapters of the manga I've read seem actually adorable.
Actually, yeah, that is kind of weird. It'd be it'd be very much your perfect zany but still sort of slice of life anime, and no one's bothered to do it.
Yep. Because I mean, the authors' other stuff, they've gotten Azumanga Daioh, and I can't remember what the other one is that they did.
Kyoki Azuma.
Maybe it's only Azumanga Daioh. I swear there's another one that got a release.
I don't know.
Oh, let's take a look. Okay, maybe it was only Azumanga Daioh. For some reason, I thought that like another one got picked up. I think it might have only been that. Yeah, I'm actually not sure why Yotsuba never got picked up as an anime. Like,
there's probably some reason that we'll never know. And what's number 9? Legend Legend of the
Galactic.
Galactic. Oh.
Is that the one that ends up? Is that Gatchaman?
No. It's a G. It ends with Den. Right?
What now?
I'm trying to think of what else goes by. I don't think it's looking up.
I'm looking it up on ANN, and it's yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
Jenny Den, or like, I remember the show.
Kinga Iu Densetsu Waga Yaka wa Hoshi no Taka.
It's space opera, big ship.
Oh yeah, whatever. I don't think it ever made it over here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it actually never made it over here.
Yeah,
yeah, none of it ever made it over here. None of it. Unless there's something new I missed. Yeah, none of it ever made it over here.
There's fan subs and shit were floating around, but I wouldn't recommend it for anyone.
I wouldn't put anything on this list that never got an actual release in this country.
Is this a fan list that we're looking at? Yeah. Maybe next we should just look at by rating. But
Now and Then, Here and There, number 8. It's worth watching if you want to be incredibly depressed forever, but other than that, I wouldn't suggest it to my worst enemy.
I love it.
I think it's the most depressing thing I've ever watched. Mostly because nothing is won and nothing is achieved. The moment everything is fixed in the alternate dimension, he's sent back to his home time, having basically done nothing. Because the status quo is restored. But, Then you have the Rose of Versailles, which is, yeah, whatever. I watched the preview for it coming out through Right Stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to watch this.
That was hard shoujo right there.
Yeah. It's like shit 70s animation, too.
Yeah, everybody's got curls and there's pretty flowers fucking everywhere. Exactly. I would not recommend it either.
And you should be glad that it's like that.
Yes, actually. How dare you not like us in all of our fancifulness? I'm hard shoujo. Ugh, no thank you. Mushishi is 6.
Mushishi is great only if you want to fall asleep.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be in my top either. It's good, but
it's good in its own way, but I wouldn't. Yeah,
5.
Baccano is it's worth the watch. I don't know if I'd have it in my top 10, maybe my top 20.
I might because I love the show, but yeah, top 20 would probably make more sense.
It didn't stick with me like it stuck with my friends. I was just kind of like,
I've got a hard on for mostly for the clothes they wear. But other than that, yeah, it's a great show.
You know what I wish? Wait, are we there yet? Oh, we are there. Yes. Mesa and Ikaku. I would love to watch this, but you cannot find it anymore. It has been out of print forever, and Volume 8 is I think $3,000 to acquire.
Holy fucking shit!
You can get the first 7 volumes for $100 a piece. That last volume, yeah, nobody's got Volume 8, and for whatever reason, Viz doesn't have the license anymore, and I'm not sure why no one has ever reacquired the license. Because I have to imagine that whoever owns this has got to be willing to renew the license at some point.
Man, it's oh wow! I remember that it's a romantic comedy, but I think it makes you sad.
I would actually like to see it because this is one of the other Rumiko Takashi properties, but you just you can't get it for a decent price.
Okay, number 3 is Samurai X.
Trust and Betrayal?
Yeah,
Yes.
which to me personally, I would lump it with Rurouni Kenshin because it's the same story. It's the same. It's a different part. It's story, but I already said that I love the movies, so.
Exactly.
And then Steins Gate.
I had the first half of Steins Gate. I have not watched it because I'm waiting until there's a good time for me to buy the second half to watch it because I'm told I need to see it all in one go, basically.
I have not seen it yet, but I meant to play the game, which I might do. But yeah, I have no opinion other than it looks interesting. And number 1 is Cowboy Bebop, which
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I would agree with. It's one of those shows that, I don't bitch when everybody recommends it. It's a great show. It's got a little bit of everything for everyone, and it still holds up today. Not that it's all that old. It's still old.
Yeah.
Good dubbed, good undubbed, great animation. Yep. Motherfuckers watch it. I feel like in the middle there was a lot we disagreed with. But that was...
Well, it's kind of like, where does it land kind of thing.
I don't think I could ever actually make a list, because depending on the day, I might feel like something's worth more than it is.
Wow, somebody's got the entire collection of Mason Akaku up on eBay for $929 starting bid. That's actually not bad. I just don't think I want to spend that much money to get the whole thing. I think the other problem is like halfway through they stopped dubbing it.
I could see why that would be annoying. Let's see. Well, there are obviously a lot of animes that weren't on that list that I would talk about, but that was someone's personal list, so whatever floats their boat, I guess. And makes us filled with hate having to talk about Elfen Lied.
Yes. That's one thing we could both agree on. Elfen Lied was just terrible.
So terrible.
So bad. So bad. You looking for another list that we can argue about, or should we try to think of something else to talk about?
Well, here's another list.
Hooray! Top 100 you should watch before you die.
Yes.
Hooray! You've got missing images. That's always fucking awesome.
Hey, your use of photo bucket. Woo.
Okay, number 100, the Abashiri family. Don't care. Don't care. I like the image, you asshole, as he squeezes his head. But I don't. No fucks to give, sorry.
I don't think I've ever seen that, so I don't know. Oh, it's by the guy who made Cutie Honey and Devilman. Oh, okay.
Hooray!
Number 99!
Shura no Toki. I don't give a fuck.
I'm sorry, what?
I like how you stopped to think about it. I'm just like, I've never seen it, I have no opinion.
I was actually looking it up, and no, I have not seen this. It's apparently, like, mildly historical, but whatever, okay. Number 98.
Mind Game. Yep, haven't seen it.
That's a movie that I never got around to seeing, so I don't know. I remember I wanted to see it because it looked like, kind of what its title is. Like, you look at it and go, what the fuck is going on? But that's really the extent of my knowledge.
This is the end of part 4. Continue listening in part 5. You are now listening to part 5. You silly bugger.
Number 97.
Sora no Wuto. I've heard of it. I've never watched it. I'm told it's
Yeah.
cool.
Sound of the Sky. It's on my list to watch because it looks both adorable and like it's going to be thought-provoking under that. Because it's about war, but it's also about a young girl joining the army. So, Welcome to NHK is number 6, which I have not seen. I have no opinion.
I've not seen Welcome to NHK.
It looks interesting.
Actually, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I'm gonna go get a glass of Kool-Aid. I will be right back because I'm getting damn thirsty.
Oh, my tea's all gone.
I'm sorry, I was gonna hold off, but I'm just like, I gotta have some Kool-Aid.
Well, there's Dr. Thunder behind me, so I'll drink that. Dr. Thunder! Thunder! Yeah, this list is off to a great start. Not seen. Has Mind Game been released over here? Let's see, 2004. One of the Wolves. It was only released in Australia. Really? Fucking really? But the Japanese version has English subtitles, but okay. Fuck you then, Mind Game. Really need to say fuck today.
Okay. Come on. Sorry, I went up and we didn't have any Kool-Aid, so I had to make some.
Once again, you were lacking in Kool-Aid.
I know. So I'm going to set my cup down, I'm going to go put the pitcher in the fridge.
Don't.
Sorry. Hey, at least it'll be easy to remove. You can just, cut it out. People will be like, I don't know what they're talking about, this thunking noise.
But if we talked about it, then I would leave it in.
Exactly.
Hey, number 95. Battle Angel Alita.
Ooh, yeah. I actually haven't seen it.
You haven't?
No, I don't believe so.
It's only 2 episodes.
I never was able to find it.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure. Let's take a look. I've been using my ANN search to see when and if I've seen it. Nope, I do not own that. However, I could own it for $33.89 apparently. Oh, there we go. $15 for it.
Okay, that is less than I thought it would be.
I think it was a pretty heavily mass-produced thing, so it's not like it's been, it's not like some stuff where, like, Viz is really bad about that. Like, Ranma's only been out of print for like a year and a half, and it's already incredibly expensive to replace.
I like Alita. It's a nice, small story with a lot of deep visual culture in it, and it asks great questions that you got to think about, and it has awesome action. How can you go wrong? And it's short. It's not going to take you fucking ever to watch.
Woot.
94 is Street Fighter 2, which I love.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
You love to fight the streets.
So, stupid streets.
Always getting in your way. I have no opinion on Street Fighter 2. I think I've maybe seen bits and pieces of it, but nothing.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a big Street Fighter girl. It is very sad because my hands are all fucked up. I find it very hard to play anymore. Gotcha. But, as a girl, my gaming experience was a lot of Street Fighter. And there's some good non-game Street Fighter media out there, and then there's some bad. And I felt Street Fighter 2, it's a bit dated, and you can tell, especially sometimes in the dubbing, but especially if you watch the censored version, oh my fucking god. But it's great. It tells the story of the characters without, demeaning them. And Chun-Li is badass in it. How can you go wrong?
I don't think you can with Chun-Li.
No. 93 is Beck, which I have not seen.
I have never bothered to watch Beck. I considered owning it, never got to it. And
92 is Speed Grapher, which I think I've said before that I did not like.
Speed Grapher is fucked up. That's about all I can say. It is just fucked up.
That's not
and
why
even say
I
it.
like it.
Second paragraph. Again, it's bizarre and fucked up, but it's brilliant. Like, yeah, it's pretty much it to a T.
I didn't feel like it was brilliant. I felt like it was boring.
Well, the problem is they go all Deus Ex Machina at the end.
And I also didn't like the female dubber's voice. But I hate squeaky voice.
Well, that really has nothing to do with anything, because if you
I'm just saying that's
watch it dubbed, you fucking plebeian.
Well, I watched it undubbed too. I still didn't like it. It's the one. I feel like it's Elfenlight in that it's another one of those deep animes that aren't actually all that deep. And once again, it's not because people are being depraved. I love depraved shit. It's the story sucks. The characters suck. They make me not want to watch it. And the dub made it worse.
Well, I just thought at the end, after the dude like defeats the main character and then just decides that like maybe he was right and like undoes all the stuff he was gonna do, I'm like, what the fuck? You don't remember that part at the very end, like in the last 10 minutes?
I don't know. I kind of blocked it out of my mind. I remember the stupid camera, the chick. I don't remember what happens at the end.
Yeah, so basically, they lose. They lose, Kiki.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
The guy with the fucking camera can't defeat. He starts out as like the lieutenant to the girl's mother. He's the silver-haired guy with the glasses. He's like fucking Superman, okay? Like he can't be defeated. And as the main like protagonist lays dying at his feet, he says something to the bad guy and makes him have a change of heart, and he basically undoes all the crap he was gonna do to like destroy the world, and that's how the show fucking ends. It's a complete fucking cop out.
No!
For all the fucking philosophical bullshit, like, I mean, that's how I remember it. I could be wrong, but that was like how it ended, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
No, fuck that. Moving on. Speed Grapher sucks, people. Don't bother with it. 91.
I own the special edition. I often wonder why.
You poor thing. Because you have a problem, and it is anime.
Spriggan, I've heard of. I've never watched.
I liked it, but I haven't seen it since the 90s, so I don't know.
Don't know if it would hold up.
I remember it has good action, so I will give it that. Where's the,
Okay, so we've done part 1.
Where are the buttons? Then we get to part 2.
I have no idea. Blog home, maybe?
Why wouldn't you have it simply there?
Because they're doing his blog posts, apparently. I like this dude or lady or whatever got lazy and just started like throwing crap together. I find that amusing in its own special way.
Okay, here's
God damn it, Kiki. You have failed me for the first and last time.
I had to fucking Google it to find it. I couldn't find it on the fucking site because someone didn't go back.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I found the link.
Okay.
So 90 to 81, go.
No.
So number 90 is Psychriad, which I've watched bits and pieces of, and it seemed kind of cool, but it also seemed completely fucked up. So I'm gonna say pass.
It's really dumb. It is really dumb.
So it's a pass.
Yeah, like you look on the surface like, oh, this sounds interesting, and no, it's just fucking guy with a nuclear powered arm punching other people with stupid other abilities that make no contextual sense while a stupid plot rolls around them. It's dumb.
Alright. 89, Valkyria Chronicles. I would so bang the girl in the middle. Just saying.
Okay. Circle around that. Bones would bang her. I've not seen it.
I don't know if it's the handkerchief in her hair or those thigh-high stockings, but hell yes. Hell yes.
Okay, 88.
Hikaru no Go. No thanks. I have no interest in any anime about the Go board game.
Yeah. 87.
Angel Beats, the most unexpected anime I ever watched. I thought they were copying Haruhi Suzumiya at first, and they were being silly, and then it got all serious and introspective, and I started to feel really bad that I thought it was just another dumb anime.
How terrible of you.
No one fucking told me what was coming at the end, and I actually kind of fucking cried at the very end.
Aww.
Because it was heartbreaking for that guy to be left there by himself.
You hear that, ladies? Bones has a soft spot. It's a good show. I recommend it.
It's fucking amazing, especially there's a ending that doesn't show up in the anime, but apparently shows up, I think, in the game. Or maybe it's some other version where he ends up meeting up with the girl that he fell in love with in another life. Like they're both reborn and meet each other like in like Shinjuku or something, and it's like adorable. All right, number 86.
Read or Die. There you go.
OVA, not the TV series.
I prefer the OVA over the TV series. Not that the TV series is terrible. It's just
different.
Yeah.
There's something about Yomiko Reedman that's just adorable.
She is both clumsy and badass, and I'm sorry, I would want absolutely fucking power over paper. Someone give me that.
Exactly.
And you barely spend any time with these characters, but when the movie's over, you feel like you know them. OVA, whatever. It depends on how you view it.
That's really the hope.
Mm-hmm.
85. Chobits. Fuck Chobits.
We've talked about Chobits before, and it's not a great show. I'm
sure pretty much you and I both feel the same way. It's kind of disturbing when you put it into context.
It's not just that it's disturbing. It's just sad.
Are you trying to say he's one of the basically characterless protagonists?
Yes, in a bad way, and not in a good way.
Yes.
He's
a spineless wimp.
To the show, and I will. Yeah, sure, she's fucking cute, but that's not the only thing that's going to make me watch a goddamn show. If you want to see a good show about a guy following a little robot, we already talked about it. Watch Handmaid May.
Well, to be fair, May is more than a robot.
Yeah.
Because she has a personality and feelings, and she's got an adorable voice actress because she's voice acted by the same lady that does Millie in Trigun. So it's just adorable.
But no, she's supposed to be fucking special too, but whatever the fuck. I don't like a lot of Clamp in the first place.
I don't know that lady's name, but she has the most like adorable kind of like dopey voice. Not dopey, but it's like very...
innocent?
Soft, I think is the word I want. She doesn't have a hard voice. She doesn't sound tough. She has a very soft, kind of like plushy voice. Not to say she sounds fat plushy, but like it's just very soft. She sounds like a girl that would like take care of you because you're a dope. Like you can't, your apartment's a mess, and she comes in and like while you're at school and you come back and it's clean, you're like, holy mother of God, what the hell happened? She's like, you look like you needed help. You're like, yes I did. So yeah, fuck Chobits. Golden Boy. I kind of want to see it because I'm told it's absolutely hilarious.
It is hilarious. On the surface, it's, kind of douchey guy. It's surrounded by hot chicks, but technically not a harem anime. But it has stuff going on under all that, and that's what makes it great. It's both hilarious and thought-provoking, but it's very episodic. It doesn't really have an overarching plot.
Good to know.
It's 90s. It's from the 90s, right?
Yeah. 90s schlock anime?
Yeah, at its best, though.
Good to know. 83?
I love Ergo Proxy. So
Ergo Proxy is fun in the kind of Blade Runner-esque, fucked up...
dystopian.
Dystopian
paradise. It's a dystopian world that doesn't actually have to be dystopian, but they keep it that way.
Yes.
That's kind of the point of it.
My whole thing with Ergo Proxies, I never had any clue what the hell was going on.
It's good. People should watch it. But it shouldn't be people's first anime.
Wait, what? How does that even count as an anime?
Because it's a CG movie from Japan, and we call everything from Japan that isn't live-action anime.
Fair enough. I like Advent Children, but I don't know that I would even have it in a list.
I like it too. I mean, 7's not on my top list of the shit, but I understand why people love it, and I enjoyed playing it, and I thought Advent Children was a nice companion piece.
I feel like Advent Children was the biggest cock tease in the world, because then everybody was like, "Look what you did! You could do a remake of 7," and Squaresoft was like, "Ha ha ha! Fuck you, consumers."
Yeah, it's good, but I feel like lots of people have already seen it anyway. So, because 7 was...
Actually, it would probably be a good way for Squaresoft to refill their coffers to release a remake of Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, people would buy it. I wouldn't, but people would buy it. 81 is Serial Experiments Lain, which is a show I loved.
I never got to watching it. I know they just re-released it, so I might have to pick it up at some point in the future.
I recommend it. I enjoy it very much, and yeah. It's great.
I think I'm going to have to skip it, considering this guy describes it as not a casual anime. It's really, really hard to follow. It's weird, complicated, and plays with perception a lot. Basically, a psychological mindfuck.
Yeah,
no thanks.
It's, okay, I know people say it's hard to follow, but people also say FLCL is hard to follow, and I never found it hard to fucking follow, so if you watch the damn show, you get what's going on. It's just you're not supposed to know what's going on at the start. That's how stories work. It is essentially about if there's a consciousness, does that make it alive? That's kind of what it is at its core. And then there's other stuff going on. And that's the end of that part.
Number 80, Casshern Sins. I've heard it's basically like Mega Man. I don't know.
Sins is the reboot, right?
Yeah, it's the reboot.
I have
2001.
I have not seen the reboot yet, so I don't know. I did like... Well, I never saw all of it, but random bits I saw of the old show is like classic, campy in its own way, so I don't know. I don't know if it's any good. It looks good.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. From
an animation standpoint, it looks good. But 79.
I'm not even going to try to even say that. It's that awesome girl that's a musician.
Yeah, this is on my shit to watch, because I've heard great things.
This is one of those ones that just never made it over here.
Yeah, it apparently has a live-action version.
Yes, it does. It's supposed to be actually pretty good.
So, based on what we have heard, it is good. 78 is Last Exile, which I've recommended before.
Yeah, Last Exile is pretty ridiculous.
Last Exile is for people that can sit and watch something. So I wouldn't say it's probably the average anime fan's deal, but it's got a great story, plot, characters, but it's slow. But it's slow.
I liked Last Exile so much I bought, and I'm going to forget the name now, and I'm going to have to look at it. Give me 1 second. It's in my, Shangri-La, which has got the same art director.
Yeah.
Not nearly as good, but good in its own sense.
Shangri-La is also good. 77 is the...
Persona 4 anime.
Which I have not seen, but I like the game, so...
Yeah, I've seen somebody playing a little bit of the beginning of Persona 4, and it looks interesting.
I've always liked the Persona, / whatever the fucking thing is called,
Games?
Well, no, not just games, but there's another...
Call on me.
What, baby?
Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei.
Gotcha.
which is like
What's the other one?
Yeah. But they share a lot of
Stuff.
in-between stuff.
Oh, XTV. Wow.
I don't like X. I don't like...
I have Tokyo Babylon, which is like the precursor to X, apparently. But I'm not sure what to make of it, because apparently, like, the two guys in Tokyo Babylon that are, like, good buddies are, like, worst enemies in X, I guess, and I don't quite understand what happened in the meantime.
I'm not a fan of X. I know a lot of people I grew up with really loved it, but only at the time, because when you watch it, it's like, oh, this is so deep, because people are fucking killing each other for really stupid reasons. But when you get older, you're like, yeah, these reasons are really stupid. This seems like a teenage drama that's pretending to be an adult drama.
Yeah.
Well, fuck that.
There's 75 is Bakemonogatari again, and yeah.
This needs an easier title. I already said I loved it. People go fucking watch it. 74 is Outlaw Star, which I love.
I love Outlaw Star. I don't know what it is about it. Like that's in my top 10. I love Outlaw Star.
Yeah, I would like to rewatch it though to see if I'm sure I'd still love it, but I wonder if I would see more flaws in it now that I'm older.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's a lot of the stuff I watched on Toonami as a kid is just like stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
One of like Gene Starwind is a character because he's this very like strong character. Like he's a strong man, but he's got all these weaknesses that come out as the series goes on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's afraid of space. He's afraid of traveling in space, and then it's like commitment, and then it's admitting that he's in love with Melfina, which is really an interesting thing at the end when he doesn't want to admit that he actually loves her, and it's not just like friendship. It's like when he finally admits it, like she unleashes the full power of the ship, and it's just ridiculous because they like combine their powers. Van Dread, oh my god, Van Dread. You have to fuck the girl for great justice.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's something about like is like the last surviving male something or other.
Isn't one planet dudes, one planet chicks?
I think so.
Yeah, it's been a while. I remember I found it funny. So yeah, it's probably funny.
Yeah, I remember it turns out that like the aliens are attacking them, and then it turns out that it's human beings from Earth with their super technology.
Super technology!
Basically coming to harvest their organs. Godray Zero. I've heard about this. I've never bothered to watch it.
I still keep meaning to watch this. It's supposed to be great, but I have not seen it yet. So, yeah. 71 is sort of
Strangers.
Yes.
I don't care.
I've not seen it yet. It's supposed to be good.
That's what I'm told. Okay, so 70 to 61. Oop. I gotta go back. I opened it in the same window. I wanted to open it in a new window. All right. Sakaki Hatsukai. Shonai, romance, comedy. I don't know. Oh, two dudes loving each other? Yeah, I'm out.
It's supposed to be one of the better, boys love sort of thing. Like, instead of just boys macking on each other with stupid drama in the background, they're supposed to be, like, real fleshed-out characters, but I haven't seen it yet. If Greaves online, I'll ask for her opinion. And I will tell you what she says if she ever gets back to me. Moving on. 69,
Honey and Clover. I got nothing.
It's supposed to be one of the better coming-of-age stories, but I haven't gotten around to it.
I'll come on your age. Go
to the corner.
Yes, ma'am.
68 is Love Hina, which we talked about earlier because we were talking about harems.
I kind of want to watch it. I really do. Despite being told it's god-awful.
I wouldn't say it's god-awful as much as it's shown its age, because it uses a lot of what we would call the classic harem tropes, but it was one of the ones that better defining them. So I would still recommend it. I still enjoy it, but it has started to show its age.
That can always be a problem.
But as harem animes go, it's one of the better ones. 87 is Eden of the East, which I have not finished yet, but what I have watched of it I really like.
I like the TV series. I like movie 1. For whatever reason, I was never able to find movie 2, so I've never seen the actual end of it. I think the last one is actually, I think the final movie is actually called End of Eden.
I think it is. But, based
So
on
I think it's Eden of the East, King of Eden, and then End of Eden.
Yeah. I watched it because I read, like, a summary of the concept, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to see that. But I've still only seen, like, I want to say 3 episodes of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Grieve says that the other thing from before has a wonderful story, even though the love is forced a little bit at the beginning. It has good, not teenagery drama, and it was fun to watch, and it doesn't focus exclusively on the main couple, so you don't get bored.
Interesting.
She's really into those sort of things, but
she likes the butt sex. It's cool.
Yes, she actually, especially lately, she has been very into yaoi.
Good to know. 66. My Hime.
I've not seen it.
I'm actually not sure. I've seen it, but it's been a long time, and I don't actually remember most of it. I remember I watched the sequel, My Otome, and was just completely sucked in when that came out.
65. We've talked about before.
Yeah.
Good show.
I'll give it 65. That's a completely legitimate number.
It's good, but not for everyone.
Yeah. 64. Soul Eater.
Which is a good show.
I actually like Soul Eater, and I would like to purchase the complete series.
Yeah, isn't there a companion series to it?
Probably. I haven't heard of it. I like that when this person wrote this, there were only 14 episodes out, because there's like 65, I think, now.
Yeah, it's expanded quite a bit.
I just like Maka as a character. She's really interesting. Hey, look at number 63.
Kiki's Delivery Service!
I love this movie.
Oh god, it's so cute. And
mostly made by Phil Hartman playing Gigi the cat.
And I'm looking forward to the live-action movie that's also based on the book that it's based on.
Yeah.
Because people need to stop calling it a remake. It's not a remake of the animated movie. It merely is using the same source material.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cute. It's great. I think everybody should fucking watch it.
One of the better that's what I'm looking for, non-antagonist based Ghibli movies.
Yeah, it's a good coming of age, finding yourself sort of thing.
Well, and all the characters are just lovable. They're just all lovable. They're all lovable characters. I love the 2 old ladies that live together that have the awesome wood fire stove.
Yeah.
Yes. That was one of the most heartbreaking things ever, when they spend all that time making that fish loaf.
And she fucking hates it.
She brings it in the rain to the girl, and she's like, my grandma sent one of those grouse fish loaves, so just toss it in the trash and move on, and shuts the door in her face, and I'm like, wow, what a bitch. Yes, number 62. The Record of the Lodoss War. If you like D&D and you like anime, you're gonna love Lodoss War.
I don't like Lodoss War.
I love Lodoss War.
It's very pretty, but I'm not a fan. I don't hate it, I just don't like it.
You have to really like D&D canon adventures to really get into it, because that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
It's based off of an actual group of manga artists playing a game together. Like, seriously. The characters in Lodoss War are their gaming PC characters for a D&D campaign. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking trippy. And it's huge. Like, Record of the Lodoss War is only the beginning. There's like 3 or 4 other series that work into that world.
Yeah. But, it's not terrible. And Bones recommends it, so.
Yeah. It's for a specific group of people. Because it's like, I was like, when I watched it, I was playing D&D for the first time, so I was like super into it.
I think I wasn't into it because I was playing D&D, but yeah. 61 is Full Metal Panic, which we also already talked about.
Yeah, Full Metal Panic is a lot of fun. I like Sosuke Sakura, and Chidori, I can't think of her name.
I would say it has great slapstick.
Yes, the paper fan is just amazing. I like the fact that she wears those pink Skechers or whatever. She's so like action girl with the black athletic socks and pink tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How do I?
60 to 51, I believe, is next.
Yeah, as soon as I can find it.
Number 60. Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Yes.
I'm still looking for it, so.
I'm told that the movie is like the best thing that ever came out of the franchise, but I've never seen it because when they started releasing it, like that was when Best Buy stopped carrying anime, so like I never got it, and I wasn't buying online a lot like I am now at that point.
This is the end of part 5. Why not have another cup of tea and join us in part 6? You are now listening to part 6 of the Super Happy Fun Gamatron Tea Party with Kiki and Bones.
Okay, go back to talking.
Yeah, so I guess we'll both have to watch it at some point and then come back to what we think of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's 59, Le Cheval Dion.
Can you link me it? Because I can't fucking find.
Yeah, no problem. Copy. And paste and send.
There we go. Okay.
This one is I don't know what to say.
Yay. Kind of. It's historical fiction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a mindfuck. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. It's alright.
Yep.
Okay.
58. Elfin Lead. Yeah, whatever. Don't care. Fuck off.
Positives. Blood, gore, nudity mixed up for a thrilling experience. Negatives. Thin plot and weak characters. Yeah. The blood and gore just make those weak plots and characters
All the much weaker.
Because, like, oh, you're just hoping that I'll be here because that girl got her fingers cut off. I don't fucking care. 57, Black Lagoon.
I just like to say that despite Bella Lyka being completely burned to shit, she's still, like, a hot as shit character. Like, no, like, seriously, like, they talk about how she's the burned up hag and shit, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, alright, for a girl in her, like, her late 20s, yeah, that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
56 is 50 centimeters per second, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I gotta see it. I'm told it's absolutely amazing.
It's very heartwarming, and it's all about looking at it and just... It's obviously not an action flick, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be just pretty.
It's very pretty, and the story is very simple because it doesn't have to be overcomplicated all the time. It's just a simple tale of two people and some other people. Some other stuff as well.
And then people's people, and then the dog. Wow. 55. One Piece. I want to be king of the pirates. Yo ho ho, and something of whatever.
Moving on. We've talked about One Piece a couple of times.
Yeah, it's show and jump. Goku, or, Luffy instead of Goku. The goofy dude with the long nose instead of Krillin. Anyway, whatever. Moving on. 54. Blood Plus. Fuck Sony. That is all I have to say.
What did Sony do?
That before there was Aniplex of America, they released this as two different box sets at $120 a pop.
Holy fuck!
I own both of them. I do.
It's good. I think we've talked about it before, but yeah.
Whoop.
Aren't you noisy?
I'm sorry. Trying to be quiet while I drink.
53 is The Cat Returns, which I love.
Yeah, the character is kind of cute in the same sense of, like, Kiki's. Like, there's not a lot of, like, antagonists until near the end, but it's very, like...
And they're only antagonists because they're trying to force her into something she doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
But it's another one of those coming of age, you can't be strong sort of things. And I like the dub. Anne Hathaway is awesome. And come on, cats. Cats everywhere.
It's a side story to Whispers of... Oh, I remember this, because I told you I watched it, you're like, did you see Whispers of the Heart? I'm like, I haven't watched it lately. You're like, oh my god!
Yeah, because it's a side story because it uses the same character, because the point is that any character that's made with, like real passion exists there, so he exists.
Exactly.
52 is Paprika, which I fucking love.
Everybody, I don't know how you can't like Satoshi Kon movies. They're just all amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen any of his films where I've said, this is dumb and I'll never watch this again.
It's very sad that he's not in the world anymore.
Yeah, that's what they say. The good die young, but pricks live forever.
51 is Nazca Valley of the Wind, which
yes.
is another
oh my god.
very
yes.
good one.
This was Studio Ghibli's opening volley of their own original properties, or their own original movies that they were making as a studio by themselves.
It's such a great choice because this shows just what they're great at, not just characters and not just a good story, but making a world that has, like I said before, a world that has history.
And when Disney got a hold of it, oh my god, the Disney dub. Holy mother of shit. People can say what they want, but the fact that Disney has the kind of pull that they do means that they get amazing people to voice the characters.
Yeah, and they have, the equipment to back up that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Patrick Stewart is her teacher. Just
God.
amazing.
It's like, oh hey, that's Patrick Stewart.
Okay. 50 to 41, I believe, is next.
Mm-hmm.
Zoids at number 50. Dude, I would kill for somebody to re-release this because, I'd like to actually watch Zoids again.
I don't feel like it would hold up. I remember loving it, but I know that it's not bad. It probably wouldn't be bad or anything. It's just, a kid's show.
I would love to see somebody bring it. It might actually happen now that company. There's that one company re-releasing all of Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one I'd like to see get a re-release. That'd be cool. 49, The Vision of Escaflowne.
Which I've talked about.
It's cool. I like it. It's a fun fantasy anime.
And I don't like it, so there we go.
I'm not like ranting and raving about it, but it was it was a fun show. It's the kind of popcorn kind of crap that some people like and some people can't stand. So 48, Casa of Cagliostro.
Castle of Cagliostro.
It's Lupin.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Lupin. Super harsh.
Despite it being a Lupin movie, it's Lupin, and if you like Lupin, it's yeah.
And who cares whether or not he's wearing green or red?
Yeah, I don't care. It's in the end, it's Lupin.
Yeah. 47 is Wolf's Rain, which I really liked.
Most depressing anime ever.
Are you sure?
It's pretty damn close.
It's up there, but yeah.
Just the fact that everybody dies in the end is just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. Just, it's good. It's worth a watch. I don't know that I'd ever want to watch it again despite owning it, but it's like...
It's really good. People should watch it. 46. I would butcher that.
Haibane Renmei? Hey, well, one of us had to try.
There are other titles of it, but I can't remember it. But yeah, It's good. It's another sad one. But yeah, it's good.
But keep it in mind.
Yeah. 45 is Gunslinger Girl, which is also good.
Yeah, I've got the first season. I'm waiting to get season 2 to like watch it all in one sitting type deal.
It's kind of it doesn't push the boundaries of this kind of story it's telling, but it does it very well at the same time. Because it's we're cute, brainwashed girls who are assassins, and let's go from there.
Pretty much.
44, or Ouran High School
Host Club. Hell yeah! Mori and Honey Senpai, the coolest duo ever. I'm sorry. Nothing beats everybody thinking that Mori is the toughest guy in the entire club, and it turns out to be Honey Senpai.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was the coolest twist ever, because everybody's like, he's no threat, he's a little pipsqueak. Everybody's like, I wouldn't fuck with Honey if I were you. It turns out he's like the world's greatest martial artist. Just killed me. 43. Shiguro?
Shinguri. Something like that.
Yeah, that guy's intestines are coming out. I think he lost.
Yeah, it's noted for its graphic, sort of realistic violence. But I have no idea what the plot is or anything. I have not watched it yet.
Hooray.
And apparently the guy could not stomach the anime. So, moving on. 42 is Perfect Blue, which I love!
It's the basis for Black Swan. And anybody that argues otherwise is full of shit, because the guy that made Black Swan bought the rights to Perfect Blue so that he wouldn't be sued for basically copying the premise of Perfect Blue.
Mm-hmm. It's great. Don't buy it for your kids, obviously. But it's
No.
And 41 is Sailor Moon.
She's the one, Sailor Moon.
Which I still love. I know it's not.
I like Sailor Moon. I do.
It's got its problems, but I love it, and I love the manga, and I'm so happy that they retranslated it.
Yeah, the Japanese anime is kind of adorable in its own little ways.
The reboot got pushed back, but it's still going to happen, and I'm glad that the reboot also brought back the musicals, so it's just great.
I'd like to get season 1 and 2 at the very least this year at some point. It's still on my list. Maybe this summer, we'll see. And you can pick up each season for about $100-$120, so it's not god-awful expensive anymore, but it's still, it's a good investment to, I have to wait till I have a month. Maybe July, when I don't have anything I'm buying, I'll pick up a copy.
Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, Sailor Moon is what it means to be a magical girl show. So it's obviously not the original, but it's like a champion of it. Yeah,
well, I mean, Cardcaptor Sakura is one type, and Sailor Moon basically is the other major type of magical girl. Because Cardcaptor Sakura is more of the what you would call traditional magical girl. It's not Sailor Moon is more Super Sentai.
Yeah.
Which is the other way they can go.
Where Cardcaptor's more something happened that's not really the end of the world, but I still have to do stuff, and it's...
Yeah.
It's not a universal scale kind of thing.
Not as dark, I think, is the big one.
Which... I'm gonna be so happy when the reboot finally comes out.
I'm actually get an English dub that's worth its shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are we on? 40 to 31?
40 is Ninja Scroll, which I liked when I was younger, but not really hold up all that well now. It seems like a gore fest with a mild plot.
Indeed.
39 is Hell.
I just like the part where the guy gets his gut full of molten gold.
Yeah. I'm not saying
it's the funniest thing in the world.
I'm not saying it's bad at the gore fest. It's just,
It's its own special kind of what the fuck.
Yeah. I wouldn't not recommend it. It's just, not all that great at the same time.
39, Hellsing Ultimate. We'll move on.
38 is Howl's Moving Castle.
Awesome. Probably one of my favorite Ghibli films. Like, genuinely one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It's very kind of, not dark, but darker than a lot of them. In the sense of, like, you know, what is power, what is love, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah, actually, because obviously a lot of people are bad in this, but at the same time you're like, in the background it's trying to show you that all these people are doing really bad things for what they think is a good cause. And in the foreground it's sort of a romance story. Yeah.
It's about her being happy with what she is instead of feeling like, you know,
like she has to, because she clearly, even though we don't see him, looks more like her dad than her sister and her mom, who are your more traditional pretty blondes, where she's more of a plain Jane, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, she ends up with that beautiful silver hair at the end.
Yeah, but she's still on the inside herself. She has a love herself. The outside is just to show the audience that she's changed.
Yeah. She ends up falling in love, or I should say, basically catching the heart of a powerful magician.
Mm-hmm.
Because she, even when he turns into a horrible monster, she still loves him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the wonderful thing is that he's a horrible monster, but not really to her. He's kind of a dick sometimes, but I think that's where a lot of movies miss the point. It's like that he's a dick to
everyone else, but not to her, because she's only a dick to him.
That's the line. Just because the guy looks like he needs to be saved doesn't mean you have to save him.
Exactly.
37, Natsumo Yujicho, which is... I want to see it solely because of the big cat. I have no idea what the fuck it's about. I love the big cat.
I agree.
So moving on, 36 is Gurren Lagann, which we've talked about.
Yes, the greatest show ever made.
Oh shit!
It's a reconstruction of classic 70s mecha.
Yeah. And 35 is Paranoia Agent,
which is amazing.
People should see it.
Once again, Satoshi Kon, may he rest in peace.
Pretty much if his name's attached to it, go see it.
Yeah, he did a good job. It's sad that he no longer is around to give us awesome titles.
Okay, 34 is Macross Plus, which is
Macross is usually good, just, yeah.
We already said we hadn't seen Darker Than Black, and that's 33.
Yep.
But now that I've seen it on 2 lists, it makes me think I should watch it.
Yeah, it's considered a really good show.
Full Metal, yeah, 32.
Yep. Yes, Brotherhood will appear at a later number. No shit, everyone says Brotherhood's better than the original. Trigun is at 31. I'm glad to see that, because Trigun is the fucking tits. I don't give a fuck.
It has some issues, but I still fucking love it. It's great.
The message he sends about basically using a gun but not killing people is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of pain and suffering that he has endured and that he flashes back to is just amazing. Like he's this flawed character that hides this horrible mess of a human being underneath this facade of goofy, happy-go-lucky, doofus. All right, 30 to 11.
To 11?
Yes, he did 20 in one run.
That's why I can't find it. There we go.
30, Fighting Spirits. Nothing to say there. It's Fighting Spirits.
29 is Vampire Hunter D, which I like.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah.
I like hands with mouths in them.
28 is Voice of a Distant Star, which is another good thing. But
I can't remember if that's the one that I actually own. I think it might be.
It's good.
No, it's not. It's
I liked it.
I can't remember what the one is that I own. It's the one where they build the plane. I wish I could remember. Same guy. I can't think of.
Oh, I know what you're talking. The Place Promised in Our Early Days, which is another good one.
Yes, that's the one I own. Yeah, because this is the guy that did, the Place Beyond the Early Days, Voice of a Distant Star, 5 centimeters per second, I think, and then Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
Which I haven't seen.
Yeah, I don't think it's really gotten a widespread release yet. All right, after that we have High School of the Dead, which I'm told is amazing, blah, blah, blah.
It's amazing for the cheesecake that it is.
Yeah, it's tits and zombies.
It's guns and zombies. And then a lot of, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
When did anime ever make sense? Let's be dead honest.
Okay, even in that sense, but yeah, it's just there to watch, not there to think. And you know what? Sometimes there's nothing wrong with it. 26 Samurai Champloo.
We've said it's good. Buy it, love it, engorge yourself on it.
But don't have sex with it, because you might ruin the disc.
Indeed. Mushishi, it's a great show. It's atmospheric. It's very calming. You'll fall asleep watching it if you're not careful. That's true.
Yes. 24 Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, the first season is good. Don't bother with the rest. I think that was our final conclusion.
Yeah.
Rah, rah, rah.
I really enjoy.
I was gonna buy it, but this is another one of those Aniplex titles where, like, no one had it.
Oh. Well, I suppose when you get a chance, it's really good.
Yep. Super expensive from what I've seen.
Oh, really? Well,
not super expensive, but it's like, I think it's like $50 a set, and there's 3 of them.
There's only like 24 episodes.
Yeah, eight episodes in a set.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a look real quick, see what it's going for.
Alright. Well, it's good. People should watch it.
Yeah, I watched the first episode at one point. It looked really cool.
22 is Metropolis, which I like.
Okay, it's 40, 45, and 43 for the other two, so it's not terribly expensive, but it's still like 130 probably for the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel like you can wait on that.
Yeah. I could get the complete series on Blu-ray for 150 with the lunchbox. Yeah, fuck Aniplex, god damn it. I like Aniplex, I like you guys, but you're breaking my balls with the pricing. Yeah, Metropolis, I've seen it, it's good, whatever. I don't think I would ever bother to own it unless I could find it for, like, super cheap.
I swear it's always on some channel at least once a year or so.
Yeah, an independent film channel here.
And yes, we are aware of the original silent film, which I also recommend people watch, but I think it's easier to watch the anime. So, 21 is Monster, which I already said is boring.
Yeah.
20 is Madoka.
Hooray!
Yay! We've talked about it a lot.
I now understand the true nature of Madoka Magica.
People should watch it. Yay!
I like what a tease it is that Madoka, like, in the timeline that you start in, is, like, never really a magical girl.
Yeah. It's because I've been a magical girl so many times before. Those timelines just don't exist. Because we're in this one. Yay! 19, Ghost in the Shell again.
Standalone complex. I like Tachikomas. I like the Major. Her outfits are fun. Whatever.
18, The Girl Who Left Her Time is a wonderful story.
Crazy, awesome movie.
Yes. It is so many things while being so simple at the same time. It's great. You should watch it.
The same dude that directed this did Summer Wars, which I absolutely loved.
I love Summer Wars too. That guy is great at crying teenage girls.
Yes, he is.
I'm
super excited for, was it Yuki and the Wolf Children?
Yeah.
That looks so cool.
17 is Gundam Wing, and I've said many times that I'm not a fan of Gundam. So.
Yeah, it's a guy thing. Gundam Wing was kind of got a lot of girl fans because of all the quote unquote 15-year-old cute boys, but like it's a guy thing, and it's even kind of an older guy thing because it always ends up being about war and like the consequences of war.
I find it boring. So 16 is Bonako. which I
We
still say.
talked about, yeah, it's good.
I'll watch it. 15 is Summer Wars, which we just said was great.
I love Summer Wars only because it's such a facetious movie at the beginning that the girl tells the guy from her class that she kind of likes, that does he want to come and pretend to be her boyfriend, and he's like, sure, why not? He doesn't tell her he likes her, but he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And then it turns into this whole thing where he, finally confesses his love, and they all come together, and the family's freaking awesome, and yeah.
14 is Ron Kitchen.
You don't like it? I think it's awesome. Moving on. 13
is Monday for Totoro.
That's one of the ones I don't own yet from Ghibli. I like it though. I like Totoro as a character. He's interesting.
Cat
the
Bus.
Forest Guardian.
Cat Bus. Okay. 12 is Death Note, which we talked about before. It's overblown, it's boring, and I hate the anime version more.
Exactly.
11 is Steins Gate.
Apparently it was a sequel for Chaos Head. Interesting.
Ooh, okay.
Not an actual... Oh, okay. Steins Gate is a pleasant surprise for anime. It was apparently a sequel for Chaos Head. The anime just sucked... And that anime just sucked balls. It was full of plot holes, confusing turn of events, and plain bad characters. It's one of the most horrible animes you can ever see. People didn't expect Steins Gate, not an actual sequel, just set in the same world, to be not so good. No, it's not good. It's freaking epic.
And that was 11, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's 11. So...
And now for the top 10! This should probably be the last thing we do, because we're like over 2 hours. We might be at 3 now.
We're at 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
There you go.
I found it. But thank you.
Number 10, Spirited Away. Yeah, Spirited Away. It's the Japanese Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Number 9, FLCL. Yeah, if that's not in the top 10, you're crazy, because it's a masterpiece.
It's wonderful, and it's not as complicated as people fucking say.
Yeah, it's a coming-of-age story. Simple as that. Number 8, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Which we've talked about.
I like 15-year-old girls in plug suits. How about you?
Yeah. 7 is
Akira.
Which
Tetsuya Kaneda!
It's a great movie, and my husband has never completely finished it because he always falls asleep.
Yeah, it's one of those movies.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's one of those great classics that's a great classic for a reason. Just like number 6, Ghost in the Shell.
The movie.
Good. It is
good. Good movie. That's all I gotta say. Good movie. Number 5, Princess Mononoke. Do you see a trend? I see a trend.
We talked about it on, oh my god, number 4. I love this movie.
Grave of the Fireflies. I'm so sad. My insides are crying.
A guy went, you know what? Let's make a movie vaguely based on my childhood. Alright.
Exactly.
3 is Code
Number 3, Code Geass.
That's what I have to say. Yes.
Apparently the second season isn't nearly as good as the first season, which makes me sad because that's the season I haven't seen yet.
Well, you'll be able to give us an opinion on whether or not you agree with that once you finish it.
Number 2, Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood.
I haven't seen Brotherhood yet. I hear it's great, so yeah.
Yeah, I think Brotherhood is interesting in the sense that it's much more plumbed out, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1. Oh, wait, what?
It just keeps scrolling.
Oh, I see. Oh my god.
Cowboy Bebop once again at number 1.
Cowboy Bebop is what you show every person who wants to get into anime for the first time. You're like, this is what happens when they do everything right.
Great characters, great animation, great story, bloody lovely music. Just all around good. And more people should watch it. There's a reason that it's on a lot of people's, best thing ever lists.
Yeah, it's well written, it's well acted. It's one of the few animes where the English dub is actually probably superior to the Japanese.
I love both, so.
Well, the actual director said he thought the English dub was better. It captured the characters more the way he thought they should be captured.
I think mostly in Ed, because, the let's call it zaniness, is more pronounced in the dubbed version. Not that the, Japanese version doesn't, get across the fact that the characters are a little woo. It's just, subtle, and it's not really subtle.
Yeah. It's the opposite of what happens with Penny in Stockings.
Yes.
Where she goes from being very subtle to being very brash in the English.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I don't watch it dubbed.
Indeed. Well, and Jet is really interesting in English compared to his Japanese. Although the Japanese voice actor is very good, it's more... He sounds like a samurai, whereas...
And not like a gruff...
In English, he sounds like a big black guy, honestly.
Well, he sounds like someone who has had the kind of past Jack has. Someone who's smoked forever. And,
yeah. Excuse me, sir, do you smoke those cigarettes or just eat them?
Whereas the Japanese version, he sounds a little too refined. Because he sounds like an old warrior instead of, old cop.
Yeah. And Stephen J. Bloom as Spike is just... He did such a superb job of playing the kind of Jet Li, Bruce Lee, kung fu way of the fist fucking bounty hunter, space cowboy. Like, the Japanese guy is okay, but he sounds like how do I put this? He's way too laid back.
Yeah.
He seems like he's like a stoner almost. He's totally out of it, whereas Bloom plays him like a down to earth, seen way too much, spaced out, war case, which is what he is basically when you start looking at what's happened to him. He was a what do you call it? He's like a lieutenant in the triads or something, and him and Vicious were vying for the same lieutenant position and all this crazy shit, and he ends up as a bounty hunter, and I don't know. I just think the voices were just amazing in English. So yeah, that was a couple top lists, and I pretty much feel that they were all pretty close to where they should have been for the most part. Stuff in the middle was a little more, up and down, but...
Yeah, they weren't terrible, and they were obviously someone's personal opinion, which we're all allowed to have, and there were some things on there and I was like, and other things where I was like, no, that thing is shit. But,
I think a lot of it is based off of, what public opinion is, too, because I've noticed, a lot of the stuff in the top 20s is all stuff that, I think of when I think of anime. Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, Trigun, NGE, Haruhi Suzumiya, Samurai Champloo, now Madoka Magica is one of the newer ones. It's a big household name. Ranma. I was actually more surprised that Oh My Goddess didn't make it into more of these, because, I thought they did a really good job with the TV series.
Oh My Goddess is another one of those where a lot of people sort of older than us and kind of our age know it, but a lot of people give it undeserved flack because they haven't actually seen it. They only vaguely know the concept.
Gotcha.
So, they go, oh, he wished for a girlfriend. Yeah, that sounds like a great plot. And it's no, that's not really what's going on there. There's actual emotions between the characters and whatnot.
Well, it's like I've said before in an earlier podcast. I find Bill Dandy amazing because she seems like she's a doormat, but she's not actually. Mm-hmm. You actually look at how she acts. It's a genuine she's not a zombie. She's not a slave. She does the thing she does because Kichi's a moron. Actually, I mean, legitimately, he can't take care. I mean, he could kind of cook, but not like she can cook. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she genuinely she stressfully from cleaning and they say, oh, that's so that's chauvinistic, and I'm like, no, there are actually women like that. It's not unheard of.
Yeah, feminism doesn't mean that you can't be domestic. Feminism just means that it's not your only option.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to have forgotten that.
My mom genuinely enjoys cleaning for stress relief. I'm not even joking. I mean, not all the time, but
Yeah, I have cleaned an entire bathroom because I was annoyed at my inability to finish an essay before. It gets your mind off of it, and the bathroom needed to be cleaned anyway.
That's kind of what I was getting at. It's, I'm not, that's the whole deal. It's like, options. I mean, and my whole thing has always been that despite this whole, like, she's his girlfriend and she does, she takes care of him. She's also the person that kicks the most ass because she's the one with the unlimited magical powers.
Mm-hmm. And, well, he is a doofus. He's got other things going for him. I mean, there are plenty of people in the world of both genders who, aren't all that great at domestic stuff because either they never did it or they're just naturally not that great at it.
Well, it's more the... Oh, excuse me. It's more the whole... It's the whole, like... Did you just laugh at me?
Yes, I laughed at your yawn.
I'm sorry, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What's your excuse?
Your yawning is contagious.
I'm sorry that some of us wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
So shut your whore mouth.
No.
Anyway.
A whore's mouth should always be open.
You would know from experience.
Yes, I would.
Okay. What was I saying? I forgot. Shit. Wow, I actually did forget. What were we talking about?
We were talking about,
yeah. It's not that he can't do it. Like, he's a guy. Like, it's the whole, like, guys are, the guy's idea of clean and the woman's idea of clean type thing.
Yes.
Like
he could probably survive on his own. It's just not.
He wouldn't be as neat and tidy. And let's be honest, what guy doesn't like, waking up in the morning and somebody's already made breakfast? Like, that's damn awesome when that happens.
Oh, now I want pancakes. Oh, pancakes.
Do you like waffles? Yeah, I like waffles. Anyway.
I wish we had a waffle iron.
You have one of those old, like, super heavy-duty 1950s era waffle irons, the ones that, like, put your hand in and it makes a pancake. They weigh, like, like the top weighs like 15 pounds when it comes down, so you get, like, super thin, wide waffles.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we've pretty much hit the end of the road since it's been 3.5 hours, and I need to go to bed since I have work in 6 hours.
I gotta edit this. So.
Hooray!
So I was Kiki, and that was Bones, and we're saying good night. Only it's probably not night while you're listening to this, but whatever.
Thank you once again for listening to the Super Happy First Gamatron Tea Party podcast with Kiki and Bones.
Good night, folks.
Bones.
Good night, Kiki.